Let us pray. Father God, I am just learning how to pray. Bear with me. First, I thank you for the life of everyone that's there with me. Then I thank you for the love you give me. Why? I don't know. I don't deserve it. It hurts inside. Many a nights I cried and called your name out loud, but didn't call you when I was doing good. Too proud. Yet still you gave me love. I wasn't used to that. See, most of the people that gave me love ended up taking it back. This is something new to me, so I'm asking you for time to adjust. Let me make it there. I will be one you can trust. What I stand for, I put my life on, I do. I guess what I'm asking is, show me how to stand for you. And I will rap for you, sing for you, reach for you, preach for you, teach for you. I will love you like you love me, unconditionally. And I will always be prepared for whatever the mission will be. Give the nutrition to me, and I'll properly digest it. And when I give it back, I will show you word well invested. And whenever I go, before I go, let me give thanks to you, Lord, for my birth and for every day that I've lived. You gave me a love most of my life I didn't know was there. In the name of Jesus, I give you my life, because you cared. Amen.
What is up, everybody? How's it going? Today is a grand experiment. I'm gonna try out this React content, and it's gonna go really bad. And if it doesn't, that it's by divine intervention, because I'm trying my best to make this as bad as possible. So we'll have some nice Death Stranding going on. I'll be able to play a little bit. Put on some of this Luke Thompson stream I was told to react to. It's supposed to be very good. We'll find out how it goes. And who knows? We'll see. But if you want to follow along at home, or want to watch it unimpeded by myself, this is Luke's stream from the 19th of this month. I don't know how often I'm supposed to pause it, but I think that's Sal to me is the only thing worth discussing, not all the other crap. Sal? Oh, salvation. my head went immediately to Sal Volcano of the Impractical Jokers, and I was gonna be right on board with you, but yeah, salvation's important too, I guess. But those Impractical Jokers have something to say, and I will not stop them. Better call Sal. Okay. And I hope this starts a trend of everyone should title their streams Gavin Ortland Destroyed or Obliterated. And if I don't see that, I'm going to be very disappointed. Because the goal is just to get Gavin Ortland to show up because his name is in the title, even if it has nothing to do with him. And then when he gets here, to kind of just ignore him. Or just, you know, invite him on and treat him like a regular person. But it's just kind of funny that way. So I think we should actually do that. I refused to do it the next morning because I saw how many people saw my other thumbnail. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think a title's kind of fun though. Yeah. So the goal is to figure out how to actually do fair use, and this time I can use a friend's video to figure this out. And then you know, maybe someday we can react to something else, or we can completely drop this because this might be a horrible format. But our goal here is to play and to have fun. So if there's any feedback about volume or whatever, let me know. Otherwise, I think we can get started. I'm pretty sure Gavin wouldn't be confused at all by your live stream. He probably wouldn't be. He probably would be fine with it. I think ideally we get both Stephen DeYoung and we get Ortland to show up. And just both love the video game stuff. And then they just are absolutely confused by all the TLC stuff that's about to go on. I started this stream a few times, just to make sure all the sound is going right. And I think we should just here I'll put it on so we can see.
Here I go again on my own.
Do you think Gavin would be confused by these streams? Just wait till I want to see in live time Gavin's getting a meow meow, you know, meow meow, and just see the chat, Luke's chat, just go down all the way saying meow meow. Thank you. Happy Cat Day. It's great. I mean, we're all trying to do that, right? We're trying to make an experience that is just so unapproachable, and that is on purpose. But
Meow, 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 meow.
see, I called it. Just there.
It just came to me. What kind of a great inspiration. I don't know how much you can sing on these things without just getting busted. All right.
I think you have to be really, really close to the original work for them to crack down on you. Just for future note, if you I don't think most of us have to worry about that. Let's just say, okay. And along with that, you know, you can get away with covers a lot. I don't know if there's a lot as much crackdown as we make it out to be.
Listen, I'm gonna get crazy up in here. I'm gonna get crazy. I'm just dropping the link right now. And I'll pin it. Pin it.
Are we gonna get a monologue this time around?
So I'm gonna run branding already because I'm pinning that, and then people can come in and play. And what should we do, Mitch? While I pin it, that's short time.
Oh, I should.
And we can just talk. We can hang out. I'm sure I will just talk until people show up. So
my hope is with this stream, no spoilers, anyone, but I'm hoping we get a good monologue in here. We should get a bingo card going. I think that would be a fun activity. I think we should do that for everyone in the TLC. Just have like oh, hey Scott. Also didn't say hi to Zep. Hi Zep too. Welcome. We're just hanging out, listening to a stream from 2 days ago, so we're maybe a little behind. But I was told this was a good one and worth a reaction, so we're going for it.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The gas station franchise Racetrack just hit me with a promotion for a 1-cent holiday beverage.
Okay.
I got this Sprite Zero Sugar Winter Spiced Cranberry. It's got zero sugar. It's got zero almost everything.
Was that any good,
It's 55
Scott?
milligrams
Was it a good
of
experience?
sodium, 5 calories just to prove it exists, but it's otherwise harmless. No caffeine, just a pleasant holiday fizzy flavor.
All right.
Okay.
We were
good
fishing.
Holiday
We
fizzy
sent
flavor.
out that lure. Tasty old worm on it. Guess who we got? Put your guesses in the comments. Guess who we got?
Okay, who do we get, guys? Who do we think it is? Who do we think is gonna show up? Honestly, I have no clue. Jess. I think Jess is gonna show up.
Meek, mild, humble. Makes me think of like some people don't see God because they don't look low enough.
Is he making a short joke live?
Order accepted.
Hairy feet.
Thank you.
Wait, hard to say. There was a bit of drama towards the end. Wait, what? I was told by Mick Mo this would be a good stream one. Am I walking myself into some major drama right now? I didn't even know it. It's scandalous. I'm being betrayed in real time.
The one.
Oh, we got Ryan.
Mr. Daring Hobbit, Ryan.
Not major.
Thank you. Yeah, I preemptively started a stream, and then I saw you were streaming, so then I killed it. And I said, we're going over to Luke's channel because
We already have some drama here. Ryan is
more
canceling
people,
a stream
more time this morning because I don't have
because
much
Luke
time,
stumbled over.
I'm thankful that you started the stream, man.
Yeah.
At the same time, I definitely did not check.
I got some time this morning.
Hey Ron, how's it
I
going?
feel like I've come out of a period of much more intense busyness. I feel lighthearted. I feel like I can do a little playing, a little streaming, which has been great. I've been able to catch up on some of the TL.
Has anyone asked what Luke is doing? Why he's wearing a blanket over his head? Feels like a very oddly specific choice. I'm just curious.
LC stuff.
Okay.
We'll
go for it.
Engage. Engage. It's fun because like I want to talk to people about the breakwater stuff. PBK said, I don't know if he's gonna jump on. He said he had time. What did he do? He showed me a picture of his Denny hat and said he put in his earbuds to listen to me, but maybe he's not.
Oh, he's going for a Pharaoh look.
Anyhow,
okay.
what is most, as Rigel says, what is most bubbling up for you? What's most on your mind lately?
Well, for me, and I know it's been the topic of conversation, so I don't want to beat a dead drum.
Mikmo, just jump up ahead.
You
don't need to.
Popping on the stream yesterday, but specifically, this is the thing that makes me the most happy. Joyous.
Yeah. A lot of people will put the blanket on their head to represent being a woman. So I wonder if this is Luke playing with the non-duality stuff. Like, what's Luke's quote? Or is this even Luke's quote? He's like, I'm more masculine than most men, I'm more feminine than most women. That feels like is that a Gnostic thing, Afriel? Or is everything that's just kind of outside of my wheelhouse Gnostic? And it's just an easy thing to apply.
And
okay.
I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet, but it was when Gavin Ortland looked at Sam and said, I'm excited to grab lunch with you next week. And my heart exploded with joy.
Well,
because like if there can be unity between Gavin and Sam, I would love that. That would be the best thing ever.
Okay, I have caught this. I did see Jacob's live stream, okay? So I couldn't react to that live. That wouldn't be fair. But I did see that, and I did notice that Gavin did say we're gonna grab lunch together, and then it was left at that. And so we have this another layer of weird maybe secret communication. This is like the CIA trying to do the Avengers reunion in the TLC, trying to draw connections to all these different groups. We'll see how it goes. I think sometimes you're jumping the shark too much, though. It picks up at 45. Okay, should I skip? Should I skip to 45? Here, I'm gonna put in a poll. Okay, I'm gonna start a poll. Okay. Okay, Scott's saying no. 33rd minute? I can do 33rd minute. We can do that. That might be the way to go. I hate to okay. If more people are voting around the 33rd minute, we can go 33rd minute. Let's find oh gosh. Do I need to do this through the picture? 33rd minute. Okay. I think the vote generally is saying 33rd minute. So let's we'll go right before. And we'll do it. I'll allow it 33rd. Perfect. This is what we need. We need some agreement. Of course we have 57% and a good portion of people are gone. So they were like, skipping it all is problematic. But here we're at 32:49. Okay.
Really, all is just a bait and switch for me to get people into the one true church, which is the Orthodox Church.
Exactly.
So Luke is saying the Orthodox Church is the one true church. That's what I'm getting from the 33rd minute here. I think that's that's in line with everything else I've heard from Luke. But we have a hey Spatch, how's it going? We have quite a collection here. I'm seeing Adam. I don't recognize Adam too much. I think I've seen him around maybe once or twice. We have Mark, we have Tayo, we have Jess, we have Chad. I don't know Andrew. Run it at 2 times speed until something interesting happens. Yeah, we'll see. I might put it up to 1.25 here.
Okay.
So
So you're saying we're going to hell? Oh,
I mean,
thanks, Luke.
Yeah, am I your Christian brother, Luke?
I mean, read into it if you want to. But
So you're saying the best way to love the best Christian love is
Okay.
to like burn people at the stake.
yeah,
What
with
you say?
Greenwood.
If it saves their soul, Chad, I'd be willing to burn someone at the stake.
I mean, in love, I will burn someone.
Well, at least he's not adding fuel to the fire. He's...
Yeah, there it is. We're getting fun. We're playing. We're having a good time.
I'm glad you pulled that sword from the stone.
There's a lot of universalist stuff going on here. I'm seeing.
Now you're in Australia. How do you switch to rugby and cricket?
Oh, Hawaiian culture. Okay.
I'm confused on the rugby. Yeah, I thought it would be simple. Came over here, and half the people support rugby union, half the people support rugby league, then half the other.
What is that accent? I'm getting kind of like a South African accent going, but I don't know. Does anyone know where that accent is coming from?
People are saying it's footy, and they're doing the AFL, and depending on what state you're in, they're confused. Anyway, they're busy having state of origin, which is the rugby league, Queensland versus New South Wales. They think
Oh,
It's a lot of fun.
is that a?
AFL looks like. I don't
That's
know,
like
it's a
New
rugby
Zealand,
player that
maybe?
runs to the cricket pitch and
Ask Rob, he
just
would know.
started messing around. And they're convinced it's the best sport in the world. I haven't devoted enough time to.
Oh,
to
okay.
Understand the strategy.
South African,
I'm
but
told
lives in
it's there.
Australia.
It just looks like a big punch up to me.
Yeah, basically. There's a bit of Aussie pride.
Adam's
I think,
a
in that, so
Womboy.
the-
Oh, okay. I'm drawing the connections again.
Desire, at least.
Okay. Womboy
All right,
hubby.
I want to see what Adam has to say. Thank you for
Trophy-
for taking my
trophy
encouragement coming
husbands?
on. Also, I want to say before you talk though is that
That sounds right.
a life goal of mine is to be able to.
That's not
distinguish
offensive at all, right?
Before they tell me an Australian from a South African accent, and also a Kiwi. I want to be able to tell the difference.
I called it.
Kiwi should be clearly distinct. The problem with my accent is that my father's British, so I'm a very English South African that has been in Australia, and so it becomes very difficult to discern unless you either Australian or South African.
Thank you for letting me save face that way. Okay, so Adam.
So let me explain. So the South African accent. It's got a strong
Okay,
accent,
we're on accents now.
Yes.
But it's kind of like 1920s BBC English with a Dutch influence. If you can combine those two. Australian accent is more East London with too much sunshine.
Mark is one of these people who says things very confidently, and I'm always under the suspicion that he half knows it and half doesn't. People in small boxes just right for this game. Perfect.
You can
That's
try and figure that one out.
It's almost like you understand the history of those countries somehow.
I mean,
Maybe a bit.
I know the
Let me
words
know
you're
if the
saying,
box is
but
too
I don't
small.
know
I
what
can
that
I
means.
can expand the
If you
box
gave me
too.
information, I have no meaning from it because I have not been initiated in the accents in which you speak of.
What kind of accent do you think Womboy has?
Oh man, well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like it's British, right? I know.
Oh, Chris, I'm playing the post game where you can just kind of deliver packages. Where's the Subway servers? We can get some Subway servers going. Okay, I didn't want to overwhelm you all, but I do have Subway servers video on my computer that we can play in the corner because I had to make some for to avoid copyright when I was making my Akira Kurosawa content. Are you using StreamYard or OBS? There's no way StreamYard could handle this level of content. I'm also not gonna pay to make this type of content. I have to do this off my own on my own system. Yeah. But yeah, this yeah, lots of talk about accents. I'm excited to see Tayo pitch in his 2 cents about this the extended world of English accents.
So I was trying to place you. Okay,
or accents of English, maybe.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So when I met her 10 years ago, she more or less had like a posh English accent, but she doesn't anymore. And it's like it's very Americanized.
What the world is
She also
polythea?
spent like most of her adolescence in boarding school in Wales, which
Am I
as
crazy?
understand is slightly different. But yeah, there's subtlety to it all. But the weird thing is I can't hear. I used to be able to do the Harry Potter thing as a kid, as a teenager. I could instantly switch into that mode. But now that I've been around it so much, I don't know what an English accent sounds like, and especially because my wife's is like completely insane. But I understand there's subtlety to all of this.
Well, that's what's so crazy. Number one, I don't know what the Harry Potter thing is. I'm not that deep in that world.
Well, I mean, like I could imitate Harry Potter. Like that was my exposure to an English accent, and it felt like second nature.
That one guy looks like he's in a seance. Yeah, he's got the red the red light aesthetic is kind of fire. It's that crazy video I dropped in the group chat the other day. Maybe you missed it. I must have missed it. Yeah, feel free to send it again. That'll be good. A good one.
There are certain people in the corner.
I'm starting with friends videos. That way, no one can get mad at me.
But there's someone in the corner.
Unless I say something horrible
Who does
about universalism or something.
Nathan Orman's accent. Like he can do an imitation of Nathan Orman that's like almost perfect, and it's one of the most hilarious things I've ever heard. It's so fantastic. For those of you who know who Nathan Orman is, may God be helping.
Okay, you guys just wanted me to get over here. Okay, you guys wanted me to stumble on the olives, but I'm not gonna stumble on the olives. Okay, We just skip ahead and then
I didn't answer. He commented, Olsen, I'm on Oahu. You asked me like a week ago and I didn't reply, which was kind of cold of me. Sorry.
In the studio? Yeah, I can pull you in. You're gonna be behind though. I need to find a way to do this.
I code switch because typically I speak with a Hawaiian accent, but I'm hearing this highly.
Here. We're gonna pull McMo in. McMo, welcome. I don't know if you're here.
Well, I am here. I joined, and right when we got to the olive section, I was like, no, this isn't why I brought you, or this wasn't why I sent it to you. Don't worry about that. You're very good at reacting.
Okay,
you're very good at reacting.
I'm doing my best. Here, I'll share with you the video so that you should be able to see it now. Hopefully, it has audio when the time comes.
Okay, good. And then what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, Polyphia, it's a band.
Okay.
You might recognize the lead guitarist, but they released what I think is probably the coolest music video in the last 3 years, maybe more, maybe 5. It's like found footage type of feel. It's very conspiracy. It's very hyper modern, hyper whatever now is. And also Christian in a weird way, but it looks like Grim Grizz branding. Like that's like it would fit in with a Grim Grizz branding. So I said it's the reason why I said it though is because you're also you're very good at reacting, and a bunch of because I've watched that music video so many times, my whole feed Algo's been sending me has been like reaction to this song "Can You Feel It" by Polyphia. But I don't want to get you sidetracked from the video. So
no worries.
I'm going to mute. I'm going to mute now.
Oh, okay. Well, can you keep talking for a second? I'm setting up the stuff for you on my stream.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can keep talking. Great. So Polyphia is this like math metal band, and they use electronic sounding drums, and so there's always been this kind of math rock, electronic, futuristic sound that they've got. And their lead guitar player is kind of famous for incredibly precise and technical riffs. And they released this new song called "Can You Feel It?" And they've kind of definitively gone towards the house music sound. And it confirms my priors because I feel like house music is back. I think that Gen Z and Gen Alpha love house music. They want more house music. They're going to be getting lots of house music. And but the music video is this really incredible EDM mixed with math rock. It's got a little bit of like a wow, I can't remember the artist's name now. Skrillex Bangarang vibe to it. Like it's kind of like peak dubstep adjacent. So I understand if it tweaks somebody in that way, but it's a very cool song. And the music video is crazy. It is just my type of content because it's like basically reminding everyone through video all of the stuff that we've been put through in a very grim grizz way. Like, hey, do you realize you were put in front of a screen since you were a baby and told to watch it? Have you ever thought about that? That maybe you weren't meant to be in front of a screen your entire life? It's kind of that genre, but there's some really heavy and weird Christian symbolism. So as a Christian absurdist, I'm gonna be drawn to that, of course. And then it uses it samples in the middle of it one of my favorite memes of all time. And if I remember the backstory to the meme, I think it is a guy who's like recently out of prison who became a Christian in prison. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of like giving his testimony to like a really small Protestant church, kind of inner city type of thing.
Okay.
And he's talking about how the devil is a liar, and he's using some pretty colorful language. But he also gives some really kind of straightforward tips on how to deal with, it's very defense against the dark arts in a way. And so, but that's all I want to say for now, because you got to hear the song. But all that to say too, I'm sure it is like heavily copyrighted. So if you react to it, you have to play a little bit and then like talk over it or react to it and then play like a little bit more, or the lawyers will get after you.
Yeah. Don't want to get their attention.
Was that long enough to
yeah. So now you have like a picture on my stream where it moves when you talk now. So it's all fancy now. Anyway, I'll keep the thing going.
White space, so I speak white vernacular English.
Yeah. Like what are they? I had a pastor once who I guess his wife was Hawaiian. They spent time out there, except he said like they were kind of culturally flipped, and so he always said that she was brown on the outside, white on the inside, and he was white on the outside, brown on the inside.
So we're gonna hit all the things now. We're gonna talk about
And what's the word though for
the racial dynamics of Hawaii? I think this is just a way to get me to stumble on everything. So no comment.
No. It's just entertaining.
Like,
I will remain silent.
I have to give it a try. Come on.
I always say it wrong. I'm trying to even
It's
remember
okay.
it. Huli?
That's close. It's haole.
Haole.
But it's spelled, people say haole too. I mean, you say it differently in different contexts. But that's a word that's very central to my participation in the corner. And it's weird that you brought it up.
Why?
I don't know. I was hesitant to come on here because I feared that we would enter into some combinatorial explosiveness that would just be my own manic episode that will derail this whole thing. But like,
and I know how you roll, and I'm here for it.
Well, so
okay.
I don't know how long. When I came out of the lurk formally, I guess like a year or two ago, it was because I was having private conversations with Jordan about the word haole. That was the thing that initiated our relationship.
Man, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for those. I
have them recorded. I'll share them with you.
Wait. Is it about Jordan Hall? Is Adam connected to Jordan Hall, or is this
Yeah. No, he apparently is pen pals with the big man himself, the big dog.
Yeah, all right. For a second I was like, Peterson? Is he just like, yeah, casually I was talking to Peterson the other day.
No, I think he was talking to Jordan Hall.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's my understanding.
Ordains it, but the weird thing is, it's so synchronistic that you brought up the word, because Dialogue with Seven. It's not called Dialogue with Seven. It's the recent conversation between Vervaeke, Master Piastro, Jordan Paul, and Guy Stock, which was published today. But they were speaking a lot about this notion of the Taurus, and I was relating it back to this notion of the haole. And so I guess while I'm rolling with this, that I heard Jordan say in a conversation, it's like a pod with like 100 views, with some SEAL teams guy. He described the words haole and aloha, he gave them two definitions. And he said aloha means I'm listening, and haole means not listening. And it like shattered my brain. At the time, I was living with my auntie, who was the head of the like Hawaiian immersion school's curriculum, and I was like, have you ever heard this definition of these two words? Because that perfectly describes how we use this. And I've been wrestling with these words and trying to understand what they actually mean for like years. And I heard like this haole Texas nail it, and so that launched this like whole vector of exploration. But I'll put a pin.
So if you ask someone to pronounce it and they pronounce it right, does that mean they're not it?
You will always be haole.
I mean, somewhat, yeah.
You will always be haole, but your endeavor to pronounce it.
This part
correctly
was an
demonstrate-
interesting diversion.
Right, right. No, I follow you. I'm tracking. I like it.
But you always be a foreigner.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Is the idea that also like you're somebody on the outside can only see some of the patterns that you know intuitively, and so it takes somebody else to be the mirror to your culture to be able to understand. Skank is saying shibboleths. There is a bit of shibboleths going on there about like pronunciation and inside out outside groups.
Yeah. Well, it's something interesting too about kind of like modernity, how modernity tried so hard to kind of lessen the blows of multiculturalism or pluralism.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was almost this reaction in like every culture in the world to kind of laser focus on like the things that kind of make them distinct, you know, and that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I also I'm remembering there was a time in my life where I felt so much self-pity because of being a white person and how my whatever cultural ancestry I had in terms of being like Scotch or Irish or British, all of that was kind of erased because my parents and my forefathers moved to America and lost all their money for one reason or another. And so there's no records of my actual cultural identity. And so I felt so sad that I couldn't, you know, trace my roots back to something that I could be proud of. And this kind of thing now, I'm just kind of like, oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, they have this. What's interesting to me about it now is like the listening versus the no listening. And then Cal will come on later and say that it's like, it has to do with breath and no breath. And there's this odd connection between Hawaiian language and like ancient Jewish or Sanskrit or something like that. But the interesting part of that whole thing for me was like the listening and the not listening is weird because I wondered if it was who's the one listening or not listening. Is it like, oh, you're an outsider, so we don't listen to you? Or, oh, you're not listening to us, so you're an outsider?
Yeah.
That was what was interesting to me about it after all of that.
And did he ever go into it further? Or is it just kind of like, oh, there is this distinction and I noticed it.
I don't remember.
Okay.
My memory of this portion of the video is that was a very interesting kind of side quest that has a couple of callbacks maybe, but that it's kind of, it really just kind of gave the distraction in some respects so that the main point of the video could come into fruition later on. But the reason I really recommended it is because it just kind of, when I watched it back, it was so funny and so fun. And like all of the main characters of the TLC were like poking their heads up to like, just kind of have fun. So that was the main reason. I don't know if there's anything like really earth shattering, although I'm kind of kicking myself mentally because it would have been funny for you to be looking for like something really important in this stream.
Just the entire
kind of see like, yeah, that it was just like good hangs.
I thought Ortlund was going to be destroyed. That's why I made the title what it is. But
maybe he will be. Honestly, my memory isn't that great, so maybe maybe he will actually be destroyed, or maybe it's just kind of I was having a good day, and I was watching this at the same time, and I confused the two.
Okay. Well, if this is bad, it's all McMo's fault, and if it's good, then it was because of my reaction that added to this content.
Okay.
Deal.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I could really dig into this.
I feel like this is parallel to the whole Gavin Ortland.
It kind of is.
Young conversation.
Listen, once you see the way broadly, you'll see it in everything. When I talk about anything, I'm talking about everything. Let's go.
No, I like this idea. There's aloha, but it's also there's haole.
So the cognate lohe, which is a Hawaiian verb which means to listen, So I asked Jordan, I said, how did you get this definition? Of course, he gave me like a 2-hour answer. But like, yeah, the concise version of it is that he was working with this, which is like a Hawaiian shaman, who's like a family friend of mine, strangely, and they did this transposition between biblical Hebrew and a similar Kabbalistic form of Hawaiian language, and they found this definition: I'm listening versus I'm not listening.
Wait. Kabbalistic Hawaiian language?
Yeah, apparently the Hawaiians were tapped in. That there's this connection between the Kabbalists and the Hawaiians. You know, I don't know what Ohana means in Jewish, but
Ohana means family, and no one is left behind.
Well, you said it.
That's what I was always told.
Is that are we meant to now understand that there may be some Kabbalist conspiracy behind the promotion of family, including aliens into the family? Are we meant to think now that there's some Kabbalist connection to Lilo and Stitch?
Potentially.
One can only ponder.
Well, and then Ohana means circumcised. On the other end too, right? Like, if Jesus made it to America, took his boat all the way over, who's to say that he didn't make it to Hawaii?
Yeah, maybe he went to Hawaii like after everything, just as kind of like a break. As a little sad.
He just needs to hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, I think I know where I'd like to go now that I can be anywhere. I think I'd before I sit at the right hand of the Father, I'm gonna hop on over to Honolulu. Might be the move. Could be the move.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
You never know. We'll have to ask him one day. Because really now the question is, why didn't he do that?
Well, if he didn't,
right. If he didn't, why didn't he? It's obvious now. Well, anyway, you want to keep going? I'm gonna mute again.
Sure.
And sorry, can you just repeat that? I'm trying to get Kalia on this thing because Kalia is like a linguistic genius and language and etymological genius. So I wasn't listening, ironically. Can you just say that part?
Metaphors just read themselves. So the short version of the story is that Jordan got together with this Hawaiian kahu, or shaman, basically. And Hawaiian has this system called ka'ona, which is about the hidden meaning of words. It's like a Kabbalistic structure. So every vowel sound, and there's no books on this, like it's straight lineage.
Fantastic.
So every vowel sound, and Hawaiian only has 13 letters and it has all the vowels, but 7 consonants. Every vowel sound.
Luke, notoriously anti-book.
Has a
He's like,
meaning.
fantastic. No books.
It's
not written down.
More than 3 syllables is like 4 sentences, if you understand this. So Jordan worked with this guy and they did a transposition.
Oh, it's not de-spirited breath?
And
Perfect.
biblical Hebrew, and they got all this definition. So there's all these weird things like kohen. So biblical Hebrew, as I understand it, is only consonants, and you infer the vowels.
Yes.
So like there's all these weird Hawaiian words like kahuna or kahu. Kahuna, KHN, is priest, which is kohen in Hebrew. Right? It's also spelled KHN. We have all these weird things. So like aloha.
Oh, so we got the connections between the ancient Hebrew and the Hawaiian language,
which is spelled which would be spelled in biblical Hebrew LH.
Fascinating.
Or something like that. I'm taking very broad strokes here.
Yeah.
But Elohim is the plural of God. The singular of God is Eloah, much like the Aramaic, like when Ilayi lama sabachthani.
Yeah.
Right. That's the plural of Aloha or Aloha in Aramaic. And you can actually
have to realize how
really
difficult it was for me to
there's a bunch more of these weird,
mentally critique his pronunciation of that after he gave us the whole.
Sacred Hawaiian words.
What's etymology? Just similarities in language?
I know other words too, man. Hey, your pronunciation on that other language isn't as good, bro.
Man, this is the kind of thing I would love to almost borderline become schizophrenic about.
Yeah,
Well, I did.
that's
That's
aloha.
what
What about huli?
Yeah.
Huli? Hali?
Huli.
Howley.
Huli. See, I'm not.
Howley.
What about holy?
So, the typical...
Holy.
Ha, so ha is the sacred breath, and ole, so aole is no, so no breath. That's the typical translation. But
Ooh, like listening.
Crazy to hear somebody else's
it's very
language.
vague, and then
It just sounds made up.
In the presence of the sacred breath.
Well, you know, you
is
always
how-
go to like
if you Google
a
it,
church
you'll
or
probably
something,
get
and
those
you
sorts of
hear
images, which
somebody
are nice, they're pretty,
do something
but,
like this,
I can't do the whole
and always in the back of my mind is like,
gymnastic investigation into it, but the central cognate is low.
this isn't real, right? We're just kind of saying words
so
and.
all of those things. I'm sorry, Jess. You asked me what about Holly. That's my answer. I don't like. That's
probably how I would have treated J.R.R.
I mean, it's a
You know,
little
you
easier
can
when you
do
have a
Hebrew, like-
degree, or at least back then,
I
right?
don't claim to be an expert, but I've always heard the.
Okay, bro, put it in the best mythic story ever told in the last century.
Almost a parallel of what you were saying there, of the connection with Eloi.
If you write your own language, do you get some leeway?
Yeah, that's the.
Haule, where you listening and the breath. It's like one is actually breath is speaking, and Haule is being.
So Grip in chat is actually a linguist by trade, and he's saying, "Who knew that two words with statistically common consonants have a similar broad meaning? Whoa, that's something."
That was my thing. It's like there's only so many sounds. You know, there's just really not that many sounds to go around. Like, it's kind of crazy that there aren't.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost weird that like, if there were no connections.
Yeah. Well, it's like I guess the Tower of Babel didn't affect Hawaii and Israel. I guess that was something they're still speaking the same language.
Well, they said,
but I also think that it's. Go ahead.
They said goodbye to each other in their own languages, and they're like, "Oh, well, let's just smash the two together." On the way away from Babel, you know.
They walked in the same direction.
I mean, well, they walked away. So I'm assuming that all the people after Babel just kind of like stayed there, except for the people who had to get really far away. Like the Hawaiians had to go a really long way, so they gotta start walking. They gotta get somewhere.
All right, better put on your walking sandals.
We have to get going, guys.
I had. If you want to rip on that, great. But like in Hawaiian, it's so many vowels, and then Hebrew is so many consonants, and the vowels are inferred. And even like name, like we were talking about name of God and all that. A lot of it is just like it's just breath. Or people will say like the actual name of God is just like breathing in and breathing out.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Yeah. And it almost is like the vowels. The vowels are like the spirit, the breath, while the consonants are the physicality, the structure in which the spirit makes alive. You know.
Yes. Yeah, so
I've been told that when Hebrew children learn Hebrew, written Hebrew, they actually have symbols for vowels, and they still give them away.
Yeah.
Just as a learning tool.
Yeah, and those were added in like the 12th century and everything else. But yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so the way I understand it in both the Hawaiian lineage that I'm now sort of quasi peripheral to, we'll say, and in the Kabbalistic tradition is that there's one sacred breath, and then there are constraints on that sacred breath that give form. So if you look at even sort of pre-Trinitarian ideas, I think I guess would be the Platonics or the Neoplatonics, like the pneuma, what is it? Does somebody here know? It's I don't know.
I do really like the idea of kind of Hawaiian Israelites, Black Hebrew Hawaiian Hebrew Israelites. Like there's some legs to that idea, I think.
I mean, we have the roots for it right here.
Yeah.
We're halfway there. Also, I wanted to stop at this moment and acknowledge that it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day, Luke and Mark. I don't know if anybody else. I think Jess might be a father on this stream.
Yeah, Jess is a father. He brought his kids to Southeast where it was hilarious. They were like so bored. They were like, "This is the weirdest thing in the world. Like our dad is so weird."
Hap is saying, "Isn't Hawaiian Hebrew Israelites a Mormon idea?" That's the question, right? Is that covered in the Mormon stuff? I think maybe, actually. I remember hearing about somebody was saying they went to like a Mormon
it just seems like it would be closer
Hawaii.
to come from the other way around.
Yeah.
If you have to go to Hawaii anyway, might as well go there first.
I heard vowel sounds are the sounds animals make. The ability of speech gives us the consonants. Grep can comment on that. I have no clue about linguistics.
I think people make up a lot of stuff about language. I think since everybody basically can talk, they're all, like everybody feels entitled to be like, I bet this is how it is.
That's
not saying that that's what's going on in your comments, but
the only person I somewhat trust is Grip, just because I know he's read a bunch of books on this and he went to school for this, and I've done a lot of talking. And he's also the type of person not to just randomly say stuff that he just happens to hear because he actually cares about this.
Grep, you're the master, bro.
So
You're
this one's yours.
expert here now. Grep, you have to tell us what's going on.
Do you really think people would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies? Yes, Af. I'm sorry. I would not lean too hard on my credentials, but I'm overly pedantic, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for pedantry in the comments. Until it's annoying and you're doing it against me.
Calling me a pedant.
It's a really good word.
The noun form. Yeah. You pedant. He loved that.
Especially against children. It's great.
Yeah. What's another word he's a cretin? That was he left to call me. You cretin.
Would he call you a cretin?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, he went hard on me, but it was just so funny, you know. It was teasing. It wasn't quite he wasn't calling me a cretin to like actually hurt my feelings or like make me to do something different. It was more just like like it'd be the kind of thing if it was just me and him and I let like a big burp or a big fart out. That's where I would get he would be laughing, but he'd be like, "You are a cretin."
That's great. Philistine
is a good one.
I mean,
that's my favorite diss Kierkegaard ever gave, which was a bourgeois Philistine.
What's the
worse than a bourgeois?
What's the Bugs
Philistine.
Bunny one? The Nimrod. Nimrod's a classic.
Nimrod. Yeah, Nimrod is up there. Nimrod was the dingus of its time. You know.
I love that it was just it was like a really good like callback to classic literature, and
Exactly.
was all like sarcasm, and then lost all sense of sarcasm. It was just this is just a plain insult.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It makes you wonder, should we maybe the next thing like that could be like a Nebuchadnezzar. And it's like, oh, you're such a Nebuchadnezzar. Whoa, bro, it's really Nebuchadnezzar of you. Something like that. But it's not better than Nimrod. Nimrod just has
it's short. It's just
it's short, but it's also got rod. It's got rod in it, you know. Nimrod. There's power to that.
It kind of has like dim in there too, like a certain like it kind of gives a moron feel to it.
See, we could be linguists, dude. We would just go to Hawaii. We'd be like, aloha kind of sounds like other sounds that we've heard before. That must be a connection here.
Aloha sounds like hola.
I actually do like this kind of information and like thinking. It's really fun, but I also like making fun of it. So, you know, I'm sorry if the nerds see this, I'm one of you. I just also like making fun of it. So I thought this part was very, very interesting. But yeah. It I could see why someone like him, because I think of him and Womboy as being very intelligent, you know. I could see why it would be the type of thing that could really get you on it could be a fixation for a while, kind of a thing. A mental video game.
Oh, okay. The language dynamics and that's
yeah, for sure.
Like digging down into it, like that for me. Lately,
and then you see these weird.
All the patterns beneath.
Yeah, similarities, patterns, that kind of thing.
I mean, that is what they what people talk about with Peugeot, where it's like how much of this is are real symbols and patterns, and how much of this is you know, all these kind of arbitrary connections that you can kind of draw between anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we have the semiotics bros for. You know, they can do the real legwork to suss through that stuff. I think for me as a artist and micro celebrity, I can just kind of smile and wave at all that hard work and try to be funny. I think that's where my skill set's at. But yeah, I mean, that is the thing. The Peugeot stuff is weird though, because I think people come to Peugeot for a lot of different reasons. Like there was a guy in my estuary group at Midwestuary who was like in love with Peugeot, and I don't mean that in a bad way even.
But Peugeot was
and
his
he
guy.
loved
You know?
Peugeot. Yeah, Peugeot was his guy.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the thing that kind of gave him the most energy or excitement about it was, I think for him it kind of gave a certain type of beauty to the nature of like authority and like playing your role and like being a part of something bigger than yourself. And I, far be it from me if I'm in a good mood to not, far be it from me to piss on that fire, because all those things are good, and if you don't see the beauty in them, then it's awesome that Peugeot can help you see the beauty in something like that. But for me, it's a weird. That's been always one of the weird things about Peugeot to me, that it seemed like he was trying to say like too many things at once. But this isn't a Peugeot cast, dude. We need to get back to. I'm feeling bad because I came on. I just started preaching to your audience, and you were doing such a good job at reacting to this video, and I've ruined it.
No. We're getting the reaction out.
It's this notion that there's the breath, and then there's the wind, the spirit, and then something you bend it on. And it's very similar.
It's a body.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost, it's the same, even the vocal cords. I mean, that's what speech is, right? We've talked about that before a lot in the corner. It's just like you have these things in there, and then you run air over them somehow, breath. And that's what speech is.
Well, in your tongue.
Yeah.
And then the same word for spirit.
And your lips.
Such a
and
weird,
your
interesting. I also thought of when you were talking before of
nose.
The definition of howly.
Yeah, the size of your head matters.
How should we
too.
say it?
You guys should just say it howly.
Howly.
Yeah, just say it like that. And then if you said that,
Because we can't say it properly.
Tayo says Mick
Because we can't say
Martyr.
it properly.
I would say, oh, look at that howly over there. But if someone
Oh,
was
good
upset with me, I
grief.
would say, what howly?
Don't hurt my
If I was
feelings,
missing something,
Tayo. I'm very
more like,
sensitive these
what
days.
howly? But
Please.
howly is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Howly.
So
Everybody be nice to me.
It makes me think of when you were defining it, which you said was fine. They're beautiful. They're poetic. Remind me just again, quick, of what the definition, which is never capturing really the essence of a word.
Well, the sort of popular folk definition is howly is
Luke asking for the definition.
And aloha is in the presence of the sacred breath.
Right. So it's almost like one of my Lukeisms is de-spirited breath. It's like when words have lost their memory or their resonance or their spirit. That's what I think. That's what dead language is, where you need revivification, which is the difference between information and meaning. I think this is so connected to all the meaning crisis shit.
Y'all gonna save the date for Midwestuary 2027? Will Smith gonna be there?
Will Smith?
Will Smith is going to be at Midwestuary 2027?
I think maybe somebody has hired him to come and say, keep those MFing propositions out your MFing mouth.
Ooh, okay.
I think he's been hired by the anti-proposition crowd. The anti-propositionalists.
Will that make it more likely for you to show up?
No, not one bit, actually. I think... I don't know if I wouldn't... I don't have any interest in Will Smith, I don't think, anymore. I feel bad for Will Smith.
Do we think of Will Smith... Are we going to think of Will Smith as we think of Santa Claus? With the slapping of... when Saint Nicholas slapped the...
I don't think
the
so.
heretic.
I don't.
We're gonna look back at
so.
Will Smith as Santa Claus.
That seems very unlikely to me. To my, what do I know about the future? But I'd be shocked to hear that.
Okay,
Will
somebody
Smith is
clip
considered a
this.
saint.
Clip this. We're gonna see what happens in 200 years.
Yeah. You know what? Take it as a challenge, Fresh Prince. Become a saint, dude. Make me eat my words.
Make us eat our spaghetti.
Yeah, that's right.
So one of the initial things that this ongoing discussion I've had with Jordan was the shibboleth of Hawaiian Pidgin English, which is technically by definition a Creole, it's a separate language. I can speak that, but what I normally speak is more of a dialecticized form of Pidgin, meaning you guys are gonna understand 90% of it. But the necessity of knowing and speaking that language is a shibboleth. If you actually refer, I guess that's in Kings or Hebrews, right? What was does anyone know the word? The Hebrews had to test the
shibboleth.
The word was shibboleth.
Right. Who were they testing? They were testing the
I don't remember.
Syrians? I don't know.
We need David
Phyllis?
still in here, or like one of our Jewish friends.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yosef, get in here.
Wasn't it the Edomites?
But the notion is essentially like
Maybe.
the way I'm able to properly participate,
Don't remember.
like in a belonging Verbachian sense, in
We'll
my
need
local
a,
culture is by like the fundamental handshake is using that shibboleth.
Sorry, Ezra says Santa Claus exists. I'm not sure Will Smith does anymore. What a savage roast.
Dang. Got his ass.
It was the Ephraimites. Okay.
Skank knows.
I knew it was somebody who was like in the club, kind of, but not exactly in the club. So
In the club.
I wonder. That's why I was thinking Edomites, but that makes sense. Okay.
And seeing,
And it was in
like, I'm always
Judges.
testing to what degree, who can I spend proper time with? And I find that out by, so I might crank up, like, this is how I typically talk if I'm talking to somebody in a grocery store or something like that, right? My voice becomes more nasally, there's more of a, like, ascending sentence tone. I might start changing up the syntax, but this is, like, not so natural to me. I might tone it down, and I could get more intense like that, but
Please don't.
that is actually the primary orienting mechanism for recognizing in-group output.
Please
And if
don't.
I lose that,
Please.
what would you call it? Dynamicity in the breath and fidelity, like the sensible, I will be completely disoriented. The entire in-group will be completely disoriented. I want to differentiate that from something like, well, yeah, we can all speak English, but there's no actual in-group signaling. Now we have TLC in-group signaling, which involves vocabulary, Verbachian terms, references to
I feel
various
like he's
ideas, but it's
missing
not,
the in-group
it's not this
signaling.
embodied aesthetic exercise yet.
I think a lot of people miss.
I mean,
I think American accent signaling is very subtle. It's a lot more subtle than other accents, in my opinion. But also, the thing is that like regional differences aren't as important in America to Americans as they are in other cultures, it seems. So like my whole life, if there's like a northern person that like moves down south and they have like a thick accent, it's like always interesting, but it's only interesting for like a week. You know, like it becomes boring very, very quickly. I think in other places, this is my hunch, especially a place as like far removed as Hawaii, there is this kind of like sense that you can tell a lot about different types of people and cultural stuff. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is the way that he was explaining this, it made me think that I was like, well, yeah, that kind of just is how accents work. Like, I basically gauge what social status and microculture my cashier is, and I kind of speak according to that. And there are lots of differences in how I say things and in what I say. And to me, that doesn't, I don't know. I think there's a tendency for people to think that that's like something that's not true of white American culture. And I'm trying to say it very much is true of white American culture. And if you don't know that, then you're probably like missing it. And you're just like getting judged and getting read as something that you might not want to be or might not be able to help. So yeah, it's a weird thing. I think that's not, and it's not unique to, I don't think it's unique to American culture, but yeah, one of the things that was interesting to me about the way he was saying that was almost like, oh, does he not know that there's that very same thing happens in at least the South?
Oh,
but
yeah.
like pretty much everywhere I've been in America, that kind of thing is going on. It's just maybe a little subtler.
Well, my parents talk about how, like, even in North Carolina, there's a distinction between the rich North Carolina accent and the poor North Carolina accent. Yep. And they'll be watching a TV show and they'll be like, oh yeah, I know like how much money you had and where you were raised just based off of how you say certain words.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Then I think Hawaii is a little bit different too in many ways because it is a very like I don't know, there is like most people who are coming in because of tourism, and so there is like a big divide between the people who live there, the people who have roots there, and the people who are just visiting for one reason or another.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that stuff is really interesting. I think it's a little bit of a weird. It's interesting to hear, like you're saying, with Hawaii and the tourists, like that does change the dynamics quite a bit. But there's also, I kind of grew up with that. It's funny to me how similar like a place like Savannah, Georgia would be to Hawaii because of the tourism and the like we speak a pidgin language kind of thing. It's very funny. Like that to me is very funny. That in Hawaii probably even more so. But like Yeah, there is a way that you put on that. You could put on the accent for the outsider to make them like for the sake of the kayfabe almost. You know, like it's like, oh, you're a tourist. Well, let me show you around. Let me tell you about some stuff like that kind of thing, which is hilarious. Anyway, back to the video if you want. That's all I have to say.
So someone asked in chat, Foxman, are you a North Carolinian? I am not really. My whole family, for the most part, is from North Carolina or parts of British Columbia. So I have connections to both, but I've not lived in either for any significant period of time. Which is another weird thing, but
I recently saw oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. You got yes one.
Only mildly related that there's a kind of Atlanta that I've been seeing a map on X recently of the like mega cities basically in America. And one of them is Atlanta all the way over to like Charlotte. I think they call it like Charlanta. And it's it's a big kind of macro culture apparently that's forming. There's like this kind of city-state thing happening in America right now apparently. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Back to the video.
So
no, it is almost like the Howley thing though, because there's a TLC thing. It doesn't take me long, and I think I had the beginnings of this before TLC, but like it really, you can tell when somebody's not listening to you, like really not listening to you at all. And we try to develop that in a cultural form. Like there are rubrics for it. We have like some basically outline laws. Like Olsen was trying to do it earlier, talking to Claire on the Chris stream. It's like, or I reference it with like that Tim Keller Gospel Coalition thing of like, when you're listening to someone, it's active listening. You have to be able to repeat back to them what they are saying in not only a way that they would accept it, but like that's better than I could say it. And not only what they're saying intellectually, what they're feeling, what they want, what they need. It's like a relational thing.
That's actually what I think is more primary though, is that the subtext is a laden and trivializing word, but it's actually what they want, what they need. Yes. The emotional undertone is actually, see, the first part you mentioned about being able to like sort of recite or steel man or do the Carl Rogers thing, I actually think that is a weird sort of mechanistic modern propositional, like in and of itself. And that's nice, but like for years I was the guy who could like repeat back to the girl I was dating exactly what she was saying and like do the whole like Huberman like therapy speak thing and like be completely deaf to the live embodied undertone, which is actually the primary thing that needs to be mirrored, reciprocated. That's the deep calling. Yeah. So you can do that without any capacity to recite back propositionally. You're way better off.
Right. So two things. Number one, like that's why I really like talking to Womboy, because like that's what she fucking does all the time. It's like that's her mode, which I love. It's like the being seen and held. Like I don't care if you agree with me. Like, do you love me? You know, like that level. And then it's like a, and then the other thing is like, you know, there's a stand-up special which I love. The guy's it's Marcelo. He's like on SNL now. I can't remember what his last name is, but he says like, he's like I always have a tough time with like he had this bit where he's like I always have a tough time with girls because like they really like it when you listen to them. And he's just like, and he's like, and I never listen to them. He has like ADHD and he has this whole bit. And then like the punchline of it is something is just like this guy who's like really good with the ladies and he was just like, he must listen like crazy, you know? Which is like you learned how to like, he's like you learned how to transactionalize that somehow, you know, a little bit where you're just like, oh, I can play this game. Like I can just tell you the things that make you think that I'm hearing you at a deep level. But that's not really like, that's not like really meeting.
This is kind of like the dynamics I hear about with the phonics versus sight reading stuff, where kids are being taught
how again?
So kids are being taught how to read by sight reading, by just saying this is what like this word looks like, and they can like kind of begin to notice that pattern. But the problem is they're not able to read words they've never read before. They can't sound out words, and it really holds back development that way. And again, there's controversies back and forth about this, but there's a certain sense in which
I just did both. I don't know. I don't remember that much, I guess. But why not both?
I mean, I'm sure you do a bit of both, but there is a sense in which, you know, you can just get somebody to like find a way to shortcut the right answer. Like I can recognize that like that symbol of 2 + 2 = 4. Like you're looking for 4, but I don't have to do any work in my head to assemble that. And you're going to get the right answer, but the problem is, are you prepared for the next?
Well, you're using your brain like an LLM, right? You're just predicting the right answer instead of actually thinking through it, using your reasoning faculties. Yeah, wow. Seems important.
Well, Well, and Skink is pointing out that like it's taxing on the memory, right? It's like you have to be able to manage all these symbols where like that's just not reasonable to do on the long term. But yeah, we can go into that, but I think that's another kind of side of this whole thing.
One in like their inner man, their innermost person. You know what I mean?
So I can connect that to, I think, some of the stuff going on that's been discussed.
Yeah.
It's like the concept of like trying to steel man somebody's argument, like in a lot of conversations recently, where it's like, okay, let's steel man the other side of the argument, so that I can convince you that like I've heard what you're saying, and then let's run through my program of how I'm going to convince you where you're completely wrong.
Right.
Because I'm not trying to hear like your genuine heart, concern, and emotion around this, which I think like Pajot kind of betrayed himself a little bit in
100%.
Where he's like, hey, this is the practical thing, this is this. But what I'm really saying is, I don't like that God. And it's like
yes.
Okay, we're not actually talking about what we're really trying to talk about. And I don't know how to actually hear you, and I don't want to hear you, and yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yes, sir.
anyway.
I
Can I quickly?
Go ahead.
So as some of you know, I'm into Gurdjieff, and one of my first Gurdjieff teacher, he said he could tell the mood his wife was in by the sound the floorboards made as she walked down the steps every morning.
Oh.
That's listening.
I know. Yeah,
Good
my
grief.
house you can hear because there's like.
What was that lady saying to that man?
Main floor,
Good
basement,
Lord.
depending on which level you are, yeah, you're getting all those sounds.
About
And depending on who's in the house,
walking on
I know who's
eggshells.
walking. I know where. I know what kind of mood they're in. Yeah, for sure.
I definitely just
Yeah.
broke
That's
all the
listening.
jewelry I was carrying.
Well, for me, it's like anxious, fear, and codependency.
I'm gonna
I could
blame
tell
Mark
what
for
my
that for the
mom-
rest of my
mood my mom
life.
was in just by the way doors were closed and stuff. I don't think it had anything to do with my deep spiritual capacity. It was more of the hypervigilant thing. But
I was
I
grateful
felt
for
like-
that point so much at the moment.
It's such a, but like that really, again, to navel gaze and find some lens
Forgot
and
he
talk
said
about the
that.
TLC and glaze us
So
all a lot.
good.
Like that's what I love about this corner. I love one of the topics I most like to talk about that's beyond even like linguistics or theology or philosophy. Is like therapy and psychoanalysis and like relationships, that kind of stuff. But then even more specifically, like people's personal relationships. Like that's the deepest stuff. Husband and wife stuff, parent-kid stuff. Like
Wait. Let me. Luke likes personal relationships.
Yeah, breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. Alert.
Has anybody told Luke about personalism yet?
This just in. Luke Thompson likes personal relationships.
Well, just wait till he finds out about how existentialism can cross over with personalism.
Uh-oh.
It'll be
It's
crazy.
over. Yeah, it'll be over for him. He'll just turn into a Kierkegaardian. It'll be great.
And then we'll have more people to fight the semiotics bros. I have not blown off an off-roader on this game yet.
I can't even see the game, which is also funny.
I mean, it's more background stuff. Mark is hearing or sensing a change in frequency. That's a real communication / connection.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, don't take my jokes for dismissing Mark's main point, which is certainly true, that like the human capacity to gather information from the smallest of signals is kind of a miracle, right? Like my wife can hear what I'm thinking when I'm silent, apparently. That's what she's like. She'll be like, don't even start. And I haven't even started. I've been thinking vigorously. So yeah, like Mark is certainly onto something, that there's, well, a philosophical way to say it is that communication, there's constraints to communication for sure, because if I'm not using words in an order that you can understand, well then we don't have communication. So there's restraints, but there's also this odd abundance to communication, right? Like there's this outpouring, there's this extra stuff in my tone, and maybe you can hear how tired I am. Maybe you can hear me trying to make everybody like me by being funny. Like, you know, maybe you can hear all these things if you listen carefully and closely. And so, yeah, to that extent, I think Mark's right on. The problem is everything he says sounds like it's a lyric to Yellow Submarine. And that's just a problem for me because of his voice. Everything it sounds is just like I Am the Walrus. You know, he's just got that Beatles, like, yeah, I can't help myself. Every time he says something, it just sounds like, well, have you tried sitting on the mushroom and thinking about it?
Well, the real question is, why haven't you?
It's true. That's what I mean. He says stuff and you're like, was that one of the Beatles saying that? And then you think about what he actually said and you're like, oh, there is something to that. I should have considered that a little more deeply. That's at least my experience.
Well, I guess we'll, I mean, okay, so this is the other thing, right? The picking up on signals. I think it's, yeah, that is communication sometimes. I'm also, you know who's really good at picking up signals? Children who are in really abusive scenarios. Like, they know when people are going to blow up. And so there is a level of, like, how much of that is communication, how much of that is, you know, and again, I'm not saying that Mark's teacher who was teaching Gerda was in a abusive relationship or anything, but, you know, it's not always a spiritual sensitivity. That can just be a, you have been, you've been, trained, what's it, Pavlovian response.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, at least they have an excuse, you know. I just know when people are about to pop because I like making and watching people pop. You know, as a fundamentally obnoxious person, I have no excuse. So at least if you were abused, you can kind of say, "Oh, I'm like this because of that." I have no excuse. Like, who am I supposed to blame for my hyper attention to everyone's mood around me? I wasn't abused.
Are you just secretly a Jack in the Box?
What does that mean?
Or no, not Jack in the Box. Other people are Jack in the Boxes to you. You know, you just twist it, and then you're just waiting for it to finally pop. You know.
Yeah, I once told my mother that there was another love language that Gary Chapman of 5 Love Languages fame. I was a very young boy at this point, and I told my mom that I actually had a 6th love language that was not in the book, and it was being obnoxious. Because I love to annoy my mother. And now I love to annoy my wife. And I'm getting it back because, you know, I'm also quite recently very much annoyed by very many things. So, you know, it's kind of a give and take thing. But why was I saying that? Oh, yeah, because, yeah, you're totally right. Like, this is why it's so important to be an individual, you know, to understand your personal relationship with your maker. Because you know, one man's hypervigilance is another man's, like, I'm being hypervigilant for the sake of love. You know, I'm being kind of hyper perceptive for the sake of serving the other, which I think is the good version of the husband who's like listening to how his wife walks down the steps and interpreting that as her emotional mood. You know, it's not all bad, I guess, is all I'm trying to say. Well,
and in chat, people are berating me with my response of maybe the trauma response is a spiritual sharpening. And I guess you're right, based off of every Gundam TV show. Where
no, why are you so anti-trauma, dude?
No. I'm for it. I'm just saying that is the plot of every Gundam TV show about children being put into horrible situations so that they're better at piloting mechs to kill people. Anyway.
Oh, my trauma only made me stronger. I guess I'm grateful for the hard life
All I'm saying is we can still make child soldiers, but through love instead of hate, you know?
Yeah. Amen,
don't clip that one.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. He said while gently weeping. Everyone claps.
The credits roll, and you will see the president return in. Okay.
You can say at the highest levels is present in those conversations, which is like the rainbows, you know, and I think I love therapy and psychoanalysis because my wife and I have been watching the show Couples Therapy, which I talk a lot about. I think she's in New York, the Orna something, but she has all these different couples, and it's fantastic people watching, and it's just therapy, and that's what she always says, which is so applicable to these conversations. Like, couples will argue, particularly in the last season. There's a couple who's like, one of them is like a mega dude, and they argue about politics all the time, and he's super like. I love him so much because he's like a little, me and my wife both said he's like a little boy, but he's like super passionate, super volatile, just gets so fired up, and then they fight about these things, and she'll always just be like, don't stop arguing about facts, just like stop all that, and she goes into like active listening, and she's just like, what are they saying? Tell me what they are saying and what they want and need.
Yeah, tell me what they want and need.
Actually, be doing that in these conversations. This is part of the like spell and delusion, I think, of like some of our enlightenment rationalism is like, it's the whole facts and logic thing. That's not how people work, and that doesn't mean we can have opinions about it.
This might betray my poor listening skill, but we're saying that still manning is not enough.
Wow, I'm really glad that Luke just destroyed all of them with facts and logic about their feelings.
Active listening is not enough.
Yeah.
what's the resolution? Do we just have to get chipped up and get the Neuralink so we can...
You have to be Howie.
No, I don't think that will work. Rogan says that, and that's like ridiculous. I think it's a fundamental misunderstanding of language. If you could read someone's mind, it wouldn't help you at all. It would probably make it work.
that's really well said.
Well, there's one thing.
Even,
Hey, can you
the
pause
best
it?
situation-
Yeah.
So often with Luke, I hear him kind of well, in this particular situation, like Kyle's right to ask, right? Like, well, what's the solution, I guess? Because I do get a sense sometimes with Luke that like he wants to be understood so bad because of how, and I relate to this, like how often he's not been understood.
Mhm.
You know, like there's a weird thing, like if you've really been misunderstood by people close to you, then there can be a real desire for like there to be this kind of like,
It
I don't
really
want to get
sucks.
stuck in the same conversation we've had a million times. I just want you to hear what I'm saying and like hear what I can't say, like all of that kind of stuff. So I understand that kind of feeling. But I think a lot of people miss that with Luke, that, you know, it's not just like a, it's not just like a schizotypal connecting of things that aren't related, I guess.
Mhm.
That was my defense of Luke. Luke, clip it. You're welcome. Back to the video.
With another person, you'll run into some sort of, like, the other person, or you just will not have the capacity to fully understand the other. And so, like, you will reach that point where you're just like, okay, they're not going to understand this. Like,
yeah. And that's a feature.
And you can, and you could take that little bit and you'd be like, this is something that's really important to me, and they don't understand it. So I can like I can start building up all this resentment about that. Or I can just be like, yeah, they won't understand that. And it's kind of, I don't know how to communicate it. It's just sort of the way it is. And I don't think, does information help communicate that, or listening to my footsteps communicate? I don't know. Like, I don't think so. Like, maybe one day there'll be an understanding at that level, but right now, no. And then, so I think we have to have sort of like trust and grace for each other and forgiveness for each other, or else, those things can become problems.
I think it's just to know the appropriate times. Sorry. It's, so in answer to your question, I think it's like PBK, when you had the conversation with, what was the guy interviewing him where he just wouldn't budge on, why do you believe what you believe?
Craig Bilbert or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's it. Where he was just adamant that it's like, that's not how people change. And it's like almost that wisdom of knowing that you can't argue somebody into changing. It takes time. It takes that relationship. And it's like, we're not going to just steel manning somebody's arguments. It's not going to win the argument. But
It takes
is a
wish
step.
as well. They have to want to change.
Yeah, but it's, I think what the benefit that we've had is not our brilliance on the TLC. It's just we've witnessed it being modeled really well for a long period of time and just been almost like immersed into that. And I think that's what's cultivated a lot of people of like, hey, actually, I can really learn from those that are around, and people that are far wiser than what I am in other areas of learning and have very different beliefs. And it's like, just having that humility model, I think is making it an attractive trait in us. And then we're approaching it, not by like will or not by force of like, hey, this is a little skill I'm going to add to my tool belt. But it's like, actually, that conversation is more life-giving than the argument that I see over there. That apologetic argument that they're trying to convince each other, and through a lot of the same arguments I've heard multiple times before, without getting to what the actual emotional core is behind it.
Yeah, so the Brett and Eric Weinstein model for listening, I don't know if you're familiar, it's like the steel manning, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And it's just like, if you understand the words that someone says and you can repeat it back to them, therefore you understand their argument. And it's like, dude, no, that's not. Maybe someone's asking for help but doesn't know how to ask, so they're screaming something. And what you just have to understand is they're asking for help. And the words they're saying are completely irrelevant to actually what they're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, I have not listened to Dark Side of the Moon because you mentioned that I should listen to it on a couch, sitting in quiet, just paying attention only to that, and I need to find a time to do that. And trying to sit down silently is not a strong suit of mine. So I might put it on while playing Death Stranding after this. And then that could be my compromise. We're talking about listening and being understood.
Yeah. Well, the Dark Side of the Moon, do you mind if I give an exclusive update on the McMo channel? Exclusive to the President Foxman channel? Do you mind if I give a quick pitch?
Yeah. Everybody, this is an exclusive. Go ahead.
Clip this, put it on Grim Grizz's show. Ezra started a movie club, and I have a better idea. And it's an album club. And so anyone who's interested in doing an estuary style conversation after listening through a complete album, and then at the end of the conversation, the group voting on what the album for next week or next session, next show's album, please just reach out to me somehow and say, hey, yeah, that album club idea is really good. And that's coming up. I think I'll probably do the recordings or the live shows on Wednesday evenings, unless there's a better night. I can't think of one right now. But that is one of my big plans for the future of the McMo channel, which is these TLC, VNA, album roundtable, album review, criticism, and conversation. And everybody will get a chance to kind of like have their album picked, you know. The first one, I'm going to make you all listen to the album I want, because I'm leading the album group. But after that, we can vote and choose which one we all, want to listen to. And so Dark Side of the Moon would be one that I would vote for. I would definitely vote for Noah to listen to Dark Side of the Moon while playing Death Stranding or really any video game. So yeah, if you're interested in that, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Thank you, Noah, for letting me grift.
I put it up on the channel, but you had the talk-ish when you pitched it. I don't know what that means, Grim. But yeah, it sounds like a cool idea. I would be interested.
Wait, I can't talk smack against Ezra now. Grim Grizz is going to defend him like he's his little brother, his little bro. I thought I could talk smack. I apologize, Grim. I didn't mean to disrespect Ezra. I just think that the album, I think the album idea is good.
Oh, you just had the talk smack in the middle, McMo, and you lost your biggest form of advertising. But you know what? You still have my advertising, so.
Ain't that just the way of things? I take one step forward and 2 steps back. Golly.
Speaking of, we should listen to Olivia Rodrigo after that.
Yeah, I like Olivia Rodrigo.
Or as my brother calls her, O-Rod.
O-Rod. Hey, that's funny. That's funny. My wife loves her too.
Good stuff.
Anyway, back to Luke, I guess.
Oh, I was gonna say listening and stuff.
I about to talk.
Oh, maybe.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I think part of this is like it's a tough kind of back and forth on like wanting to be heard, because sometimes it feels like the response that often comes from saying like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm being understood is you should listen to people more. I'm like, I have no problem with understanding other people. It's other people understanding me that I feel like I have a hard time with normally.
Yeah. Listening better and listening well is not the same thing as communicating better and communicating well. It's kind of like 2 separate skills. Yeah, it's true.
And it's kind of the vibe I was getting with Andrew's point there. And maybe I'm not listening as well as I should. But that's just a pattern I've seen in the past of things people will say. But we can keep this roll going. Hopefully we get some good Tayo wisdom coming in here.
Did you see what I'm saying? It's like many different shapes.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm saying implicit in that notion of steel manning is, I shouldn't say implicit in the notion of steel manning, even in maybe to some degree having protocol for conversation almost is this assumption of a dominance dynamic. Like, we are going to play dominance games. If you're gonna steel man, you're already playing a dominance game. Like, you can just in the metaphor, the image of the steel man itself, there's a dominance game baked in there.
Yeah, but there's a dominance game doing the more
is this a Freudian
embodied of the
point?
4Ps thing that we're sort of talking about as well, which is that if I'm assuming that you don't have the capacity or you're not able to understand what I'm saying the way Jess said earlier, where it does come to a point where you're just not everything, and I don't have the ability, or you don't have the ability, I don't have the ability to express it, and you don't have the ability to apprehend it. There is a posture of superiority that I'm taking to be able to say that. So I don't think you can escape the dominance game as soon as you're speaking.
I mean, I always kind of thought I think of the.
I don't mind if people are understanding me if well, I don't mind if people think that they're beating me at conversations and doing a better job than me if they're understanding what I'm saying. I'm willing to lose that game.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've understood you pretty well, but I'm definitely completely mogging you in the dominance game.
Yeah, yeah. But this is an acceptable bargain for me. If I feel like I'm being understood, which I think you're doing a good job. Yeah, if you wanna take the dominance game win, feel free. Just like
I'm top lobster.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
The corner and what it does best is exploration. So you're moving from the forest to the field, and you know, I'm Christian, Joseph's Jewish, you know, Luke's Orthodox, and we all, you know, and then we have different, you know, we live in different countries, have different ethnic origins, and so but the exploration can still take place. Like it seems like we're actually like looking at some sort of common space that we can then talk about, and it seems like that's what I see happening that's good. And so like when I say someone like there's something like when someone doesn't get it what I'm saying, like it's basically like I'm standing over here, they're standing over here, and I'm trying to talk about something that I see and they just can't see it, or you know, I get how that could be construed, or even like, I mean, it could be on my part just be like, yeah, I'm a little superior, I can see something someone else can't see, but that's not really what I'm trying to mean when I say that. Like I need to be better at saying how things are from my perspective and not necessarily hold it against someone for not having perspective through their glasses or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't so much pointing at the superiority coming from the actual words of I know something that you don't. It's more so the even if we use, I think, the lens that you come from, which is more I've got something I would like to share with you and I'm not currently able to share it with you. It's the having something that's the superior thing. There is something there is a bit of nugget that I've got I would like to share with you. That's the superiority. There is a have and have not.
Well, I think that a better way to frame this, and I'm taking this from Daniel Gardner, is there's something like we're trying to attain and maintain a state of optimal intrusiveness. So that little nugget you have or whatever is some piece of novelty which is inevitably going to invade on my communicants now. But if we're engaging in whatever this exercise is, whether you want to call it dialogos or capital C, meaning we're actually attempting to do is optimally intrude on each other's maps.
Is there a TLC term for talking about talking? That's not navel gazing? I don't know if we have a word for that yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to be less of a hater. So I like this part, you know? Let's get meta. Let's introduce some OG Rose. What are we doing? We don't have to just talk about boring conversation, like boring personal issues and languages. We can talk like optimal intrusiveness. We can invent terms. We can think hard. Let's do it. That's my take.
True. Now that we got an OG Rose thing, maybe we should not worry about navel gazing and just let it go. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you're gonna talk about OG Rose, you're allowed to navel gaze. That's my official position.
Okay, fair enough.
In
No
a way that's
critique here.
specifically opening, and so it's semantics or something. It's not dominance or superiority.
I've got to pause you there, Adam. That was such a beautiful phrase. Optimally intrude on each other's maps. I'm gonna have to write that down. That was brilliant.
That's OG Rose, state of optimal intrusiveness.
Oh yeah.
Optimal intrusion in the shade.
Matt's saying that it's probably like meta. I think meta's probably the closest we have. There's a bit of meta stuff going on. Dog fooding is not this. Dog fooding is when we are kind of feeding it back into the system of like, you should watch our stuff. You should watch TLC stuff on TLC. Matt C, you're talking about Chad saying, have I offended you? And Chad has offended everybody, and we love him, so it's okay. All Matts at once. All 17,000 Matts in the corner. Okay.
Yeah, OG Rose always says the coolest, smartest things.
Yeah,
what?
Is that just hospitality?
No, so
I mean, I don't mean just, but is that hospitality?
Is that hospitality? Can you explain?
Like optimal intrusion into my home is I welcome you in for dinner,
Optimal
and you intrude into my home, but it's within the framework of we're having dinner. I'm going to prepare food. We eat together. Like that's the optimal intrusion into my home.
It's not intrusion if you invite them. Sorry.
That's what I mean.
Intrusion is they coming in and bringing dinner. That's optimal intrusion.
But that's what
Bring the pizza.
But that's what this is talking about. So.
Yeah, but there's something really beautiful there about you
You
want to be the
can't
guy who knows when to
me
show
if
up
I
uninvited
give
with
you the
the right
loot.
omiyage. What is it? Accoutrements with the right. The Japanese is omiyage. I don't know. Is there an English word? Like you want to be that guy who knows how to how to show up uninvited.
Yeah,
That's
But
wrestling.
be welcome. But be welcome and not be an imposition, because
Yeah.
sometimes that will happen. Like, you have to know, this is all, we describe that, like Steven, we talk about that all the time. That's what TLC is. It's like internet hospitality for having conversations, but that's where you are welcome and not intruding. And like I've often said, it's not when you come into my house and take a dump in the middle of my living room floor. Like, that isn't, I don't want you in my
unoptimal
house.
intrusion.
That's unoptimal intrusion.
Yeah, it's just hate to be the thorn in the thing, because I see what you're putting out and I want to engage it properly. But I want to bring it specifically to
Okay, well, what is going on in the chat? Chris, why did the human centipede get brought up? Why are we making? Okay, it's fine.
Chris Howard of all people.
Yeah. This is the one bad part about StreamYard, is that you can't like isolate people's like messages and put them up to pin them. I've looked at options, but I don't know how to do that. Oh, go ahead.
OTS, you mean?
Oh,
You said
OBS,
StreamYard.
yeah. OBS. I'd have to like custom make it or something. Or find something that exists already that somebody cared enough to put together.
I mean, if you crack that puzzle, TLC will be eternally grateful.
And I hope that no more money gets sent to the StreamYard Corporation unless they give me a lot of money and give it to me for free. That's another thing.
communication conversation that we're having. What is optimal intrusive? There was another word I'm missing.
State of optimal intrusion.
Yeah, but reciprocal optimal intrusion. I think there are two words that I want to pick out. The reciprocal part is easier said than done, because most conversations don't start in that level. There's a level of trust that's presumed for you to be able to get to the point where you're having optimal reciprocal intrusion. And that to me means that if we're going to hold that as the ideal form of conversation, then it invites the maximum of that would be you're only going to talk to and with people that you like and for it to establish a relationship with. But you don't get to that point without relationship building.
The way that term, state of optimal intrusion, someone else want to go?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just for this steel manning, I think it sets like a basic, like a minimal level of communication, and I think us here we're way above that minimal level, if that makes sense.
So the way this phrase "state of optimal intrusion" came up in the OG Rose conversation I was listening to was actually in the context of the therapeutic process. So I currently work in some capacity in a therapeutic process. I spend a lot of time listening to people, and what the shrink or the facilitator is trying to do is, what does Paul say? You got to show them how much you care before you tell them what you know.
Yeah.
You do have to tell people what you know once in a while, and if you can thread that needle correctly, it's super satisfying to kind of slap or pin someone right in the right place at the right time. Why am I saying that? To address what Ty was saying, the martyric thing to do is realize that 90% of the people you encounter are going to be having either simulated conversation or just straight up dominance tactics. And if you have, I shouldn't use the proverbial, I aspire to have enough aloha to engage in that relationship such that I will permit them to optimally intrude on me so it can, that sort of thing can at least facilitate my growth.
I'm so lost on optimal intrusion. What is optimal intrusion?
So I think it is it's kind of, think of it maybe as an existential stance that is kind of well aware that for me to be kind of a person, it's going to come with a level of intruding on your life, like if we were roommates, for instance, I would intrude on you in some real way. But if we could optimize those intrusions so that it was less of an annoyance and less of a burden, it was actually mutually edifying, then that would be a kind of optimal intrusion. And so I think OG Rose basically takes that and applies it to like conversation in the idea of like, well, I'm going to try to, I know that if I were to just spill my guts and tell you exactly how I feel, that would be quite the intrusion, but if I can kind of do it in this optimal way of like not being too kind of overburdened and not kind of not letting my tongue, get loose and just kind of say whatever I'm thinking, which is, at least in the Proverbs, is really frowned upon as an activity, to just kind of speak from the heart. It's not really highly looked upon in terms of with the wisdom literature. But like, there's a sense in which, okay, well, I'm going to do this kind of a thing where I'm going to share a bit of myself on the internet or with you, with a friend, with my wife, but I don't want it to be so intrusive as to kind of offend or to hurt or to colonize, you could say. I want to be optimally intrusive in the sense that I do want to kind of state a difference or show that I'm not the same. You know, we're not the same thing. But I have this kind of care towards making sure that I'm not overwhelming you with my otherness.
So it's like saying,
That would be
like,
how I would explain it.
I need something from you, and how do I say that in a way that is the best way that I would want to hear it, or someone would want to hear that?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like there's probably specifics on how to actually do this, is what that sounded like. I think that the idea broadly is just kind of like, okay, if you're the type of person who you or someone else might consider a quote unquote a lot, how do you just kind of like manage that? That's how I read it. But I'm biased because I'm definitely someone who someone could categorize as quote unquote a lot. So that's kind of my interpretation of it.
Okay.
But it seems like there's a lot of ways you could actually do it in real life, depending on the person. But it's all about that kind of trying not to offend the other person unnecessarily, basically.
Fair enough. Oh, I guess... maybe this sounds a little rude, but this feels like it's one of those things that we made a fancy word for that feels very, like, common sense-ish? And maybe what does it add that isn't already present in a basic understanding of loving your neighbor? Or maybe it's more specific on how you could love your neighbor?
Yeah, I think it's just naming the fact that you're not dealing with something that's just like all good. You know, there is this kind of intrusion that you make upon others and that they make upon you. And so to kind of steward that intrusion in an optimal fashion seems like an interesting way to kind of frame it. I don't think that it's meant to kind of overtake any type of understanding of loving your neighbor. I think that it's kind of meant to put new language on it so people can kind of see it from a different perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could ultimately just say the optimal intrusiveness would just be perfectly loving your neighbor as yourself.
Okay. We'll keep it rolling.
In hopes of that becoming some sort of reciprocal exercise, but it's I don't think aspiring to have communion rather than communication mandates that we only speak to fellow saints.
Okay, wait. There's a thing that's going on in the comments about this is a practical application of the abstract. I'd like to make a correction. I don't think this is a practical application of the abstract. It's a movement towards the practical application. But I don't think it actually is the application. Like it's a much more specific abstract. Is that a fair point to make here?
Seems fine to me.
Okay.
But you have to something with the idea of good faith though is that this is why I streamed once, is like you can only actually talk to people you agree with on some level, because like if you don't have good faith, you're not talking. It's not talking. It's a tacit hierarchy competition game of dominance. Like this is the Jordan Peterson thing with the channel whatever
So what you're trying to say is,
yeah, it's like you're not listening to me, we're not talking, we're not communing, you have no, there's no faith here, it's just winning.
Yeah, but Al does, because I do agree with you, Adam, that that sort of point I was making, that 99% of the conversation are not going to be reciprocal. I forgot already, but you know what I'm referencing. So how does one build that? I think that's the Gavin Ortland Peugeot conversation critique, is they started off with the Stillman and just tried to build that, and it didn't work, which is what you guys have been critiquing at the start of the stream. So how does one get from Luke's already given his answer, which is you can only speak to people that agree with you, and by that he means something specific, but
trust.
Yeah. How does
can I speak to that too? So Second Genuine and a few others in the comments on some other live stream seem to agree with me that Jonathan was speaking from his heart and the other guy was speaking from his head, and they just
are we okay? I'll like
just missed each other, completely missed.
I don't know if I'd agree with that description. I think they were both speaking. I think they were both speaking actually mainly from their head.
Yeah,
I think Jonathan's heart got exposed at one point where he shared something that was very real, and I think Gavin is trying to steer a very head conversation into like the heart of it. Sorry, I'm trying to read a comment, but it's like I think that they need to have more conversations, because their definitions are so different on salvation and church, and neither of them are seeing that how much that changes their perspective on the topic they're actually trying to talk about. And it's like, I'm just realizing this because it's like I was approaching the conversation so much more simply, I think, before they started having. And I think, Tao, like what you're pressing on is we're seeing the benefit of long-standing relationship being like forefronted, then the conversation is allowed to happen afterwards so much easier.
Yeah.
Which is an unrealistic standard to put on a conversation between somebody like Gavin and Jonathan, because we can't all have these long-standing relationships in a shared community where this is an anomaly. Like, this is very rare. That's why it stands out when like Gavin comes on the stream and he's like, what is this? Like, how can this actually work? How can you have these conversations with people that are so different but you actually still seem to like each other? I think that's very rare.
I like you, Andrew.
I'm gonna stop rambling. Sorry.
Well, I think
I don't think we're disagreeing, Andrew.
I only disagree with the subtlety of the one was head, one was heart.
Yeah, but basically they just missed each other.
Yeah.
They were speaking from very different places and they couldn't connect the all. So we're definitely in agreement on that. I just use the word head and heart, which...
Okay, can I point out one thing too that's really rough is when you're trying to find some friction in a conversation where you can actually begin to talk. A lot of that has to come from a certain level of disagreement. Just a certain level of like, hey, we're seeing things differently, like let's just try to work it out. And I think there's a habit that some people have, including myself, which is to try to smooth things out before there ever is any conflict. Like, we don't, like, oh, we're not in a disagreement. Like, we're actually completely agreeing right now.
We agree. Yeah.
We agree. We're actually the same point of view. And you're saying exactly what I think. And it's a really bad habit to get into.
I agree. I really agree.
You agree?
That's not a bit.
But there's a joke about who's that guy? Dave Rubin. He used to do all the like early Jordan
I've heard
Peterson
quite a few jokes
about Dave Rubin.
Only one joke.
But there was one kind of skit that was done about him where he's doing all his interviews, and every time somebody says something very different on his podcast, and it's just it's a cartoon of him saying, "I agree with that." No, I agree with that. No, yep, I agree with that. And everybody's just saying the exact opposite thing, and they're like, "Dave, who do you actually agree with?" And then he's just freaking out because he's like, It feels like this sometimes.
I used to be a lot more like that until I married an Italian lady. Then I had to start sticking up for myself.
I feel like that. Yeah. That.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
You can tell. You could tell she's turned me into a grizzled, belligerent arguer. All in good fun. You know, for heaven's sake, as he says.
She just activated the latent reformed bro within you.
It was epigenetics. The law kind of aggravated the sin nature within me. Yeah, she laid down the law and it just made me a worse sinner. That's exactly what happened, for sure.
A worse sinner, or it was just the other lesson you had to learn?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've learned my lesson. You know, I kind of like it. I kind of like arguing with her. So that's kind of, that's like a part of our thing. That's how we flirt, I guess. Sorry, I'm thinking about her because she's getting her nails done and then we're going on a date. Because this is funny. People, you guys will like this, I think. So I called my dad earlier today. Quick detour. I called my dad earlier today. Happy Father's Day. You know, all that stuff. And he was like, hey, I've got some big news. And so what you need to know beforehand is that my whole life, my dad has, in paperwork and in birthday cards, Christmas cards, all of that thing, sometimes text messages, he refers to me as 3A. And he has this kind of numerical alphabetic system. And so number 1 is God. Number 2 is his wife, my mom. And number 3 are his children. So I'm 3A and my younger sister is 3B. And so my dad on the phone today, he was like, I have this really big news and I want you to tell your wife this news. I'm going to send you some money. He sent me money on Father's Day, which is hilarious. And he was like, I wanted you to take your wife out for dinner and tell her this. And what he wanted me to tell her is that the system has been changed permanently. And my designation has changed as well as my wife's, Miss Mo. Her designation has also changed for my father. So now I am 3A sub 1.
Oh.
And my lovely wife, Miss Mo, is 3A sub 2. And so this is very, very big news for my dad. And it's kind of big news for me too, because it's basically like my dad has now decided to call me something else. I'm no longer 3A. I'm now 3A sub 1, which is, he might as well have just renamed me. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had the experience of your father renaming you at the age of 32, but it's, I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was in the back of my head. But anyway, all of that was to say my wife's coming over. She just got her nails done. She's coming to pick me up. We're going to dinner. And so I don't know how much more time I have, but that's ultimately why I brought her up in the first place. Oh, yeah, because she made me more disagreeable, made me more comfortable disagreeing, made me a better arguer. Can you believe that? I love my wife.
Wow. How do you think she's going to take it?
I think she will be grateful for the dinner, regardless. I think she's going to like it. I think that there'll be a small hesitancy that she's 3A sub 2. Because by her accounting, you know, she's much more capable as a leader. And so she would probably want to, you know, take that yoke. But I can't let her have that. And it really is a skill issue. You know, like there's a certain amount of, if I let her lead me, it's kind of my fault in a lot of ways. But that being aside, you know, I like to argue with her. So it's kind of, it's a helpful thing. But other than that, I think if she sees it as we're both 3A, you know, like we're one unit. So we're both 3A, like together we constitute the 3A category, which I once held solo, you know? So she's encroaching on my territory in my father's mind. And I think that aspect of it will be amiable to her.
What was she to your father before?
Well, that's the thing. He said, you know, we've been married for 10 years and it's been rattling and he's been trying to figure it out. You know, what's the most, he told me this is almost verbatim. He said, this is, you know, heavy lays the crown, you know, like this type of authority and this type of like label. It's kind of like Adam naming the animals, you know, there's a lot of responsibility in him kind of giving us our designations. And so it wasn't like something he just like on a whim changed. It's been 10 years of trying to figure out the right designation for my lovely wife. And I think if I had to guess, probably one of the things that was hardest for him to kind of pull the trigger on was changing my designation. You know, to go from 3A to 3A sub 1, I know people may giggle out there, but like I understand why that's a big deal. You know, like it's my name too changing, you know, so it really is a big deal. The delayed release is interesting. Like I think he probably could have made the decision 10 years ago. So that's interesting. Why didn't he? You know, why is it taking him so long? Was it something that he kind of went back and forth on?
He wanted to see if you would fumble it or not. I think that might be part of it.
Yeah, he didn't know if I could keep her. Yeah. There might be something to that. I wouldn't put it past him. Who knows, you know, but it's such good news, you know, that he sent me money on Father's Day to take her out and tell her. So I'm looking forward to that. I have no memory of what the video was talking about before I got distracted by all this.
Chris Howard is saying you're lucky that she isn't sub 1 and you're sub 2. So you do need to be grateful for that.
No, I'm definitely grateful. I'm grateful because I think he got it right. You know, if I disagreed with it, I'd let him know, and I'd let her know too. But I think he got it right. I think I am 3A sub 1. If I had been named 3A sub 2, that would basically be a dead naming. That would be a like depart from me, I never knew you type of situation. And so I'm really glad that he didn't go with that. I don't like to think that was even ever on the table, to be honest. Because I'm so much taller and stronger than my wife. You know, like when it's all said and done, you know, I'm taller. And that shouldn't be.
That should stand for something.
Discounted, I think. Yeah, for sure. And also I'm his son, you know. We share a name. And so there's something special about that too, that I would have been disappointed if he kind of cast me aside so quickly. I mean, 10 years is a lot to be kind of for her to kind of finally have a designation. Like, I get that. But if it had been 10 years and then after the 10 years, I had been put, like, at the beginning of our relationship, I could see someone saying, you know what, she's in charge. And that's just because she was so much better at arguing, you know? But now, after she's trained me, you know, I feel at least equal to her, if not, especially after she got long COVID. You know, I started winning arguments after the long COVID. So I'm definitely number one. I'm definitely sub 1 now. So if it had been 10 years and only to be 3A sub 2 after my whole, like, after 30 years of being 3A, that would have been, I think, an offense.
Maybe
I would have
that's what he
had
was
to,
waiting on, was to see if you could, like, is there ever going to be a point where you
live
can
up.
win the arguments? And then,
Yeah.
he didn't wanna,
maybe that's it. Maybe
he
it took
didn't
me
want to
10
have to
years to
change it
deserve
again.
3A sub 1. That's a good point. That probably is what it was. It was 10 years of, can I, in good conscience, designate him 3A sub 1? That's probably what it was. Yeah, I think
Or
I think you
or
probably
he
nailed
was
it.
just seeing the struggle and it was like, hey, like, I gotta, like, it keeps going back and forth. I need to let them settle
Yeah,
this.
he needs something to fight for. He needs something to fight for. Yeah.
Chad is asking, is there going to be a 3A sub 1A?
So that would be like if me and Miss Mo had a child.
I thought your dog
That's a good question.
I thought your dog is basically 3A sub 1A.
I mean, we have a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have dog
Your
Theo. My
current
dad
dog.
did, the last thing he texted me, because I called him and he didn't answer today. And so I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm trying to call you. Give me a call back. And the last thing he had texted me was to give him an update on how good of a boy my dog was being. And he had created a custom sticker in iMessage, which I don't know how he figured that out, but he did, of my dog. So yeah, that's a good question. Next
I was
time
going to
talk
use your
to Mr.
dog's
Mo-
name, but is that out on the internet?
Don't dox my dog.
Okay, I won't dox your dog.
No,
I
you
just
can
wanted to be
name
clear.
it
I wanted
Theo.
to clarify.
Yeah, Theo. His name is Theo, everyone. His full name is Saint Theodog the Brave, patron saint of storms, because the first night we had him, it was storming like crazy, and he wasn't afraid, even as a puppy. The loud thunder did not faze him whatsoever. So yeah, that's Saint Theo. And my dad loves Theo. He loves being a dog granddad. And neither of my parents are very pushy on the child front, which is a blessing. And yeah, I mean, that's me, I guess, in a nutshell. You guys are getting the whole Mo lore.
I was gonna ask another question, but I think I'll save it for off stream.
That's true. I am kind of self-revealing here, self-doxing a little bit.
I was gonna ask a question about your dad, but then I realized, yeah, we'll wait on more of that. Second dog saint, yes. Does Theo know Gwynevert?
No.
No.
Theo doesn't really know much of anything. He knows how to sit. He knows how to give me his paw when we pray before he eats. He knows what it means to go for a ride, what it means to go poop. He knows some things, but he doesn't know many of the other saints. And that's probably for the better. You know, I don't consider him a saint. It's just kind of his name. Although he does lack, you know, a type of Augustinian original sin, which I do find quite compelling in a creature. But other than that, yeah, no, I don't know to what extent he really knows anything. And with that, my wife just pulled up, so I'm going to have to say goodbye.
Okay.
And I'll hope to catch up on the rest of your reaction to this stream, because it really does get better from here. I mean, Mark Parker's entrance alone is worth like you're going to laugh for like 20 minutes. I hope I catch that, but maybe not. I don't want to overhype it. Maybe, you know, it's boring. It's not funny. It actually is going to make you mad. Anyway, thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good one. Hopefully McMo can give a good sermon to his dog in the Franciscan style of speaking to the animals. And everyone pray for McMo if you're a praying type. That it goes over well with his wife with the new designation. YouTube X'd my SNL reference comment. I'm so sorry. See you, Chad. Have a good appointment. and we'll get back into it. We'll actually be able to get through more of this video.
I'll stand with, and you can disagree with, and that's fine.
There was almost a point where they connected it. It's when Gavin talked about the missionaries, the Protestant missionaries that sort of gave their all to go bring the gospel to different places, and he even said, he's like, I'll cry if I talk about it. And Jonathan, like, his response after that wasn't directly towards that, but it was a much softer, more personal tone, and they immediately turned the conversation away from that. And I was just like, dude, guys, you totally missed each other.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that's why, I mean, and I'll say this, like, I have no problem critiquing Orthodox personalities. Like, Matt C was giving me crap last night about this in some group chat that Mark Parker started, where he just posts thirst traps for all the men in there. That's basically what he does.
Wait, what?
But Matt C was saying, like, that I'm critiquing people or whatever. Like, I'm not.
We're gonna play some inside baseball. Okay, I have seen this phenomenon, and Mark D. Parker does post thirst traps. And I will not elaborate any further.
Not being ideological about this. I think Peugeot
Is Luke muted?
No, I think that's your
StreamYard, disconnect and reconnect. That's been doing that with all the streams.
The bad Israeli internet.
Luke, no one can hear you.
No, we can.
No, you can.
Just you, Ezzy.
Yeah. Just you, Jesse. Disconnect and reconnect.
Yeah. I'll just take him off, and he can connect, reconnect. So, yeah, the Peugeot thing, this is why I say you can be right and be wrong. Like, I would maybe agree with Peugeot propositionally about a lot of different things. He was relationally totally wrong. It was total Christian YouTube. It was total dominance. To Jess's point, he wasn't listening. He was not listening at all to the heart of Gavin, which is not.
What are the thirst traps? I will not elaborate. I think I said that. If he wants to share what he's sharing, fair enough. My goal is just to stir up content. CSC King Genuine, thanks for joining. Have a good night. Keep this moving.
You have to have the humility. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, when Christians do not have, like, a self-emptying capacity in conversations, that's the most anti-Christian thing, like, ever. How is that not just, like, obvious?
Yeah, Christians are the fucking worst, so.
Well, I mean, Jonathan from the beginning, he said, I'm not trying to build a community here.
What are thirst traps? Do you know what a rage bait is? It's like when somebody tries to get you to, like, get really mad to engage with their content. So, like, if I, like, you could see the the title of this stream is like, oh, if somebody's really mad about the Gavin Ortland stuff, then maybe they could show up. If I was leaning into that, that would be like a rage bait. And I'm just doing it for content. I really don't care. I'm just trying to get people to engage. A thirst trap is that, but with lust instead of wrath. And it's, yeah, that's all you need to know. Isn't that just passive aggressive? Not really, exactly. Because part of it's like disconnected. Part of it's just like trying to get a rise out of people on purpose. Yeah, no problem, Scott. It's good to know. It's good to know. It's good to have a word for it. That way you know what it is when you encounter it, and you can avoid it as much as you can. So don't join never.
My church, and what I want to do is I want to do
leave
this
it there.
whole thing, and then the podcast and whatever. And Vanderclay has been like, I'll build a community if the community is going to be if it's coming, I will encourage it. Like Paul, I guess, isn't building the community, but this is the whole difference between Pajot's way of going and then Vanderclay's way of going. And
well, doesn't that also go to? I mean, Luke, you might be able to speak to. Sorry, it's on the Orthodox perspective of event.
Yeah, clickbait is like the widest frame, because clickbait can be anything. But then you have the sub kind of stuff, like what are people reacting to specifically?
Which Peugeot like briefly shared about, where it's like, no, the point is to be the best Christian you can be and let beauty attract, which kind of seemed to be what he was communicating. And it's like, yeah. I think that misses a lot of like the evangelistic fervor / like power of the Protestant perspective. That it's like, man, actually our goal is to go out and reach as many people as we can. And
yeah, I mean, even
just
factually on the ground, Protestants have done more missionary work in the last 50, 70, 80, 100 years.
Yeah, I'm a beneficiary of Protestant evangelism.
Yeah, the amount of Bible translation Protestants have done.
Yeah, that got to the heart of like how much Gavin was saying. Like, man, like we have to look at that as surely something God was doing.
Yeah,
And
like
can we admit that? Can we recognize that? And that's from an Orthodox perspective, can they look at that as something God was doing?
So I think Father Stephen DeYoung spoke to that beautifully at 2 points in his conversation, and this is my perspective.
Yeah, he did.
Where I think it's almost, this is where Orthodoxy is much more like Judaism in a few different ways. Is Orthodoxy and the Church views himself almost exactly like Israel in the Old Testament. It's almost like the exact same thing.
That's gonna go well.
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you. But then to the point.
You say that as a good thing? Oh, no. Sorry.
Well, I know. But also they view it as like, Father DeYoung said something like, it's like the diaspora, like they're going out, like all of this splintering is going out, but in the reconciliation will bring back all the good things that Protestants have been doing, but we think it's back into the Orthodox Church.
Yeah, all the nations will come to Jerusalem.
Which is how Hezi speaks about Judaism and Christians all the time. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to note that there's a question here about the steel manning and how do you actually do it, right? They started talking about it, which is already a win in a certain perspective in this culture today, but nevertheless, they failed to do it. And I don't know who said it over here, but again, about creating the friendship first, it's really about making space. And when you're having an argument, it's much, or a discussion, a debate, it's much harder to make space because you're really presenting your case. And that's why every conversation first really needs to begin with a dynamic of making space for one another to really, really see the other. Like Luke was saying this at the beginning of the stream about, like, it changes something in you, which again could be scary. But if you are confident in your position or confident enough in your position, if you really want to be able to see the other, you have to make space for that. So it's really about letting someone speak. Sure, you could probe with some questions, but it's letting someone really bring himself out and feel comfortable enough to share, and then later on you can actually move forward to a secondary discussion. So I don't know if that's a culture that needs to be built on YouTube, where you first have this preliminary, let's just make space for each other, but I think you don't necessarily have to have like a 5-year relationship before you can actually steel man someone. But I do think steel manning someone off, like for the first time, could sometimes be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Mark,
go ahead, Luke.
Mark Parker, you're here. You haven't said anything. What do you think? What do you want to say?
Well, okay, there's a lot of things I want to say, but I will start when I come back from my hiatus. Start a monthly Fatarecci award for every time someone in the corner embarrassingly lifts their skirt or a YouTube better. It's
we're talking about the dominance games, and this is one thing that I behind closed doors have talked about a little bit of. TLC is kind of built on the sense in which we are different. Like we don't fit into the same thing. 40 minutes about waxing poetic about making space before loosing your noodles when Claire took a breath and when I said that was rude. So this isn't on Discord. Brett, this is on Discord. I put it in like a super secret channel for the moment. And I can pull you on if you want. Just let me know and I can do that. But I just wanted to do it so I could have this little bouncing guy talking in the corner. That's that is a Discord thing I set up. So but yeah, there's this dynamic of like bowing down to the big things because the big channels are in a certain sense validating your ability to communicate it. You're being validated. So when Gavin Ortland comes on and is like, what is TLC? It's like, well, like it's this whole hot girl phenomenon with the youth groups, or like the cool kid phenomenon, right? Like we need to get the coolest kids and the coolest boys and the coolest girls to join our club, because if they do, then everybody will want to be a part of it, and then Jesus will be spread because of it. And that's always the way it happens. The problem is that there's not really a trust in anything else. And there's not a sense in which the identity is beyond that. Like, how are we going to express personalism if we're going to, like, freak out whenever somebody else comes in? And there's some ways where I know I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, because if Hideo Kojima walked in and was like, hey, what is this? I would be freaking out, okay? But I don't see these figures in the same place, right? Like, they're already kind of engaging. We're already kind of hanging around the same circles. I mean, anyway, but I love you all, and I understand fangirling. It's one of those kind of things that is deeply in all of us. But
the thing I want to talk about, I think you're talking about, I think we have to move beyond the cliche of steel manning and talk about sincere or honest curiosity about other people.
Right, and that's something PBK has said about Peugeot all the time. Like, Peugeot isn't curious. Like, watch somebody. Like, seriously, watch somebody in conversation. He doesn't ask any questions. On the internet, he's not really curious about other people at all.
I think we forget sometimes that Peugeot is French. Like, sometimes we think he's just an American dude, and we forget, like, he is literally from Quebec.
I don't care about you. We are.
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
He doesn't have an accent.
Fair. Triple like that. He hates the French.
I think these guys, though. I'm sorry. I think the intrusion of these minor personalities, really, in the scheme of things. I mean, these are all tiny channels on YouTube relative to the whole ecosystem, right? I mean, but because they're significantly, several times, many times bigger than our biggest channel, right?
Okay, so to give people credit, yes. Like I think talking to Gavin Ortland was a good thing. Like it was a good thing to go. Hey, thanks Paul for the 550 joules. I will drink water apparently. I think that's good. I think what Mark is missing here is the fact that in the space of Christian apologetic stuff on YouTube, Gavin is very big. Like his name is well known. Like he is traveling around those circles, right? Like Gavin knows all the big players, especially on the EVA side. Yeah, joules are like bits, I think, now. And so he is a big deal, right? Like, name a Christian apologist outside of YouTube, first of all. Like, I know of none. And of the biggest of them, Gavin Ortland's big. Like, we wouldn't be freaking out about if Mr. Beast came in to the same extent as if we saw Gavin Ortland show up. Right? And that's just part of the thing. I mean, we would, sorry. But, any of these other big YouTubers, right? If there's a million sub YouTuber who was just showing up, like, for the most part, we would just be like, oh, that's just a guy. I mean, we kind of had that with, like, there's been, like, CJ came by. What's his online name? But he did an interview, and he's, like, a pretty big Morlon TV. Like, he's, like, a relatively large streaming channel and makes a living doing that. Went on to Paul's channel to talk about stuff. And for the most part, everybody was like, yeah, that guy's a pretty big channel, but, like, he's just a guy to us. Even when Thomas Flight came by and did a conversation with Paul, like I was freaking out, but no one else really cared. Gavin is different. Now I still think it's kind of cringe, but I don't think it's unfair that the reaction was like that. So, am I just doing drama YouTubing now? Gosh, please no. I guess we're gonna see though. We'll hash this all out in real time.
So, but they come in and they think if we're not careful, they think.
Oh, okay. If we want, we can get something going. I know Brett was interested. I know Chris is interested. Chris, I don't know if you're on the Discord. I'll shoot a Discord invite so everyone can hop in, at least into the thing. He only showed up because of Jacob's clickbait thumbnail and stream title that was slandering him. Yeah, that's YouTube. A bit of that and a bit of this, but if PVK wasn't there and he didn't like the conversation, he wouldn't have come on. Yeah, I mean, well, he has a relationship with PVK in some way, shape, or form. And that's, like, kind of reasonable. That's just kind of the way things go. That's the way it works. Brett, I'll pull you in. Hello, Brett. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. I will make a thing for you. You can just talk and I will do that in the background. And I will keep an eye out for Chris. And anyone else who comes by. But what thoughts has this been stirring up in your mind?
Well, it's so crazy because part of me definitely feels like I think a lot of us where you don't want the TLC to become this massive thing, right? Because it may lose what it is, right?
may lose its
But
saltiness.
yeah, but I also think that there's so many different groups of flotilla ships that are creating, you know, subgroups in the flotilla that it's cool that we all know each other and get to talk with each other and people that are brave to go on other people's groups, you know, and have conversations and stuff. But I also think why like part of me is torn saying like, oh, we can have as many ships as we want. Like there's nothing that would stop that and make it less genuine. Because you know, you only have so much time for so much content. So I don't know. I you know, I like that he came on because what he really is trying to do is exactly what we already are doing. He really wants to have relationships. I mean, I've watched this stuff for a long time, and he genuinely has these feelings for the person that he's talking to, and he's genuinely wanting to understand them, understand the perspective. He's very charitable to the point where he gets bashed by his own side for not being aggressive enough, right? So I feel like of all people, he would have been the one that I would have had the most respect for in having a genuine conversation. Whereas we can name people like James White and, you know, these people that live for the confrontation or the sensationalism, you know. But I get it. You know, some people, they get these averse reactions to people wherever they come from. And, you know, maybe they're siloed. I don't know, whatever, you know, and they can't see that. But I did see a shift from the reaction to the Peugeot talk and the Stephen DeYoung talk, that there was a lot more charity given to him, which was kind of cool, you know. So I like the fact that he was like, how are you guys all friends from all these different traditions and being able to talk about this heavy, heavy stuff? This is so cool, you know, like he was enamored with that. He thought that was the greatest thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think there also is like a temptation to want it to be kept to us. Like if you want to try to do this, you should be a part of our group.
Yeah.
And I think there's an element of just like, you know, ecumenicism has existed for a long time. We're just doing a different form of it on the internet. So take what you want and leave what you want or join. Like it, either way, hopefully it'll work.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I can't see the texts, I don't know, or the comments. I accidentally hit watch the stream.
Oh,
and
no, perfect, because the stream is where you're gonna see all the video as it plays. So I'll keep an eye out in chat. There hasn't been anything posted yet, so.
That's cool.
Cool. Well, keep it going then.
The fiasco that was Jacob's stream threatens, and thankfully he doesn't consider himself part of the corner, so God bless him. But if we let that kind of mindset intrude, if we let that mindset,
that's so funny.
I'm sorry, Charlie, I talked over you. Say it again.
I'm just enjoying the fact that you're keeping your beef with Jacob going in 2026.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, stylistically, we're just different people. But I think if we let that attitude, that approach to these live streams intrude too much into the corner, it'll break it up, because these are divisive characters, and they're divisive by design. They are about creating a market segment for themselves.
Is he? Yeah, I think Mark has a very interesting perspective on Gavin. I don't get that sense from Gavin, but maybe that's just a different experience or something. I know Gavin is a little controversial, especially across party lines. But no different to me than my experience of any of these other kind of people who are very like a Jay Dyer. Like I think Gavin is seen as something much less controversial than Jay is.
Yeah, you know what's weird is I think a lot of times too, people have an opinion
when they don't really, they haven't had spent enough time with the person's content. And so they may have a certain opinion about someone, you know, like for me, as an example, my first impressions of me is I seem like I am a know-it-all, and that's really not my heart, dude. I really know I don't know it all, and but I do come sometimes off as a matter of fact, and I hate that about how I'm presenting. But I've tried to not do that. I've used prefacing statements, you know what I mean? But you just can't help how people are going to see you, and hopefully the longer you get to know them, then potentially they can see that's not your heart, you know? They get to know you.
Just a heads
So
up,
Gavin,
real quick, Chris, if you're still interested, just hop into any of the voice channels and I'll pull you in. There we go. Okay, keep going, Brett.
yeah. No, I just was saying that Gavin does come off, but he makes faces, and he's actually said that on Paul when Paul talked with him. Grizz posted that video. It was an older video, and he explains how he's had to be very cognizant of his facial expressions, and because how it can be construed, and so like things like that do happen, and he makes facial expressions, like his confusion face looks like he's being a jerk, like he's deliberately trying to,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that really isn't, I've watched enough of his stuff. That's genuinely not what he's doing. Like, it's not telegraphing a secret message.
That can be really difficult. Yeah, again, that's the personal level of like how familiar are you with these people. We have
Exactly.
another comment. I perceived the whole affair similar to Mark D. Parker and Matt C. When I said so on PBK's stream the next morning, he agreed with my sentiments about the profilicity status groveling after bashing him.
Who was that? Who was that?
Roger Dodger?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a bit of like wanting to avoid all the fakeness of Christian YouTube, but I think there is an element of like, ironically, this is the orthodox idea of like trying to integrate all of creation into something. Like you've got to find a way to live in existence with somebody instead of opposition to them. And I think sometimes TLC has formed itself against Christian YouTube stuff, and instead of just like understanding that you're just trying to model a better way of doing things. And I think the way that Gavin
100%.
came in with some curiosity, I think was a good step.
And I'm going to be honest, Mark Parker, what he said, it wasn't what he was saying was wrong. I mean, it was a shift in a tone.
Yeah.
If you watch how Gavin puts himself on screens and stuff, he put like his name is Gavin. He doesn't say,
his channel
Gavin
or
Ortland
anything. Yeah.
Dr. Gavin Ortland, or but then when Jacob is addressing him, it's always I'm giving him the respect that he has earned through his education. So now it's Dr. Ortland, and so Mark was funny because they lifted their skirt. It's so funny.
Well, and I don't know if you need to, I don't know. I can understand the frustration with it a little bit and the cringe at that experience and seeing that, but I don't know if that was something that you need to point at Gavin as being the problem there. I think that's maybe an unfair characterization of like just a guy who's trying to interact. And again, maybe I'm being a little too forgiving or naive about Gavin Ortland's secret plans to destroy TLC or something, but
well, we do this thing in the corner where we go through our conversations and we get so far in them that we kind of forget where we just came out of in a conversation.
Yeah.
And so as soon as he came on, it's like they completely lost the thread that they were talking about ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
To address this whole thing, right? And so, and obviously he came on because he was watching the conversation. It's not just like, oh, there's a thumbnail I don't like, let me click it and go in. You know, no, he saw Paul. He felt safe. You know, he's met Paul. He's talked to Paul. But it was a bit chaotic in the sense that so many people were trying to talk. And there was some fandom going on, even if they don't like him, you know. So it was a bit chaotic. Jacob didn't necessarily moderate it very well in that regard, just because he should have probably shut some things down and, you know, just like, listen, I'm gonna mute a few people. Bear with me. I want Gavin to be able to speak, you know, but that's not how Jacob's channel runs traditionally. So he did stay true to how he normally runs the channel.
Fair. Chris is not here. Okay. Well, let me double check to make sure I'm not missing anything, but then we'll keep it going again. Chris, are you here? Hello? You're muted. Oh, we have a wild Paul Renee Nichols as well. Okay, we'll see if we got too much stuff going on, we can manage it. But Paul, welcome to Paul. Hello, Paul and Chris. I'm going to put up stuff for Paul. Feel free to keep talking as I get this moving.
Yo.
Hello.
What up, Paul?
Not much.
Okay. I think we're getting a little echo somewhere. I don't know where that is, but just a heads up. And then we'll get this video moving again.
And so they define themselves for marketing purposes.
You're chopping up stuff
they're running a
live.
big grift, and they may be selling something that's useful to people or useful to some people. That, you know, I mean,
Wait, who's got the grift? I don't know.
Ortlund, Pajot, De Young. You want to just run the list. Myth Vision, Bart Ehrman. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to have a conversation with these people from a genuinely curious perspective.
I think it's about the
if I let
money.
them into my home as like a superstar, they, you know, they're going to create havoc, and I think we have to be careful not to let that attitude carry on too much.
I think somewhat I'm potentially open to agree with you, because I think there are certain principalities that people are not aware of when they're trying to build a platform and get clicks and likes and subscribers. I mean, it's like it's the function of that medium and the algorithm is to gather attention for making money. I mean, this is capitalism, kids. This is what we're doing. And of course, Gavin is trying to do that, I think, somewhat unconsciously. But in the thing under Steel Manning, in the Star Manning, in the caring, I think Gavin is trying to, if you just asked him, if he was here, to be charitable to him, he would just be like, he's defending what he sees as truth. That's what he sees himself as doing.
Did he not seem? Did he not seem curious? Like,
yeah, I find
Mark,
him curious.
Mark, do you really think it was a fiasco? I thought it was such a beautiful interaction. Someone that's actually curious, someone that sees it, someone that also mentions himself, that he understands, that he realizes this sort of authentic conversation is what's missing. Him realizing we had a chance to critique Christian YouTube and him to agree to that. Is that not like a quote unquote?
It is funny that we just talked for about an hour on the stream about not listening to one another, talking over each other, and we have encountered our first challenge of actually trying to live this out live on air.
Yeah.
I felt Gavin
think
was
Ches was right. But it was chaotic. But Chesy was right.
Yeah, well, and I think they're both seeing what they're predisposed to see in the situation. Because I can see both perspectives. I think maybe both are kind of going a little far in the way that they're interpreting. But it's fascinating to me to see both kind of interplaying in the way that they recount it.
It is interesting too for people to claim to you don't know me, and you don't know me to know my frame of reference, but yet they know Gavin and he's grifting.
Mhm.
It's like, come on, man, you don't know him, and I don't know him. Maybe he is grifting. I just don't get that. I feel like,
well, and there are ways of seeing that, right? Like of kind of seeing it play out in real time, and I don't know. There are people who I don't know that I know are grifting, right? Maybe not in our space, but I know online, because just they're prioritizing all the wrong things in how they're making and communicating with their audience. But
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, what is the significance of Gavin Ortland to you?
What's the significance?
Yeah, like what, because I'm just like, I mean, not in a too crass way of you like him, don't like him or whatever, but I guess I'm just not sure, like, what your vibe on him is, or what the attraction is. Other than is it just because people are talking about him right now?
Yeah,
yeah, are you asking me? Or are you asking?
I mean, whoever.
Yeah, I think it's just an open question.
Okay.
Mine might be a little boring. Like I've seen a few of his videos. They were okay, but it was very much the part of YouTube that I don't really care too much about, which is the more debatey side for the most part. And so I kind of bounced off of it pretty hard, partially because it came so late in my experience of that type of content that I really didn't have too much of an interest in following up with it. But I never got like a bad vibe from him. I just got a vibe that he was engaging in the type of content that I don't really care to watch or make.
Yeah, there's two. This is similar to why I'm doing 2 channels, even though I haven't put anything on the other channel yet. One channel, why it's the a Flockalypse Now channel, is because I want it to be the flock that's trying to figure things out, as chaotic as it needs to be, whether it's Doomer, whether it's whatever, wherever you're at, and it is chaotic at that point, right? When you have all these different viewpoints. Whereas the other one is going to be more teaching. Well, with Gavin, he's kind of got everything funneled into one channel, and most of his content is literally teaching theology from a reformed viewpoint. Now, because he does that, he gets the, hey, I want to talk to you. Hey, I want to debate you. Hey, and he always transitions it to a discussion, not a debate. However, just the way that this last conversation was built, what do we click on the most? I'm saying we, meaning the majority of people that love the arguments. They're clicking on those because they get something out of it. Whether you're team this or team that, you want to see how your team is defending itself. So those videos get more attention. So he looks like he's some sort of debater, which is not what his real platform is. But if you articulate something exceptionally well, and you bring receipts and historical, like you have source after source after source in your videos, that the challenge is, I'd love to see if I could go against this guy, right? That would be the guy to go against. And what I personally like about Gavin in general is that he is super charitable when he interacts with anybody he's talking with. He is not like a Jay Dyer, at all. He is not the kind of guy that is like trying to dunk on you, And so the more you watch some of his stuff, the more you realize he's not the average Christian YouTuber that we're talking about. you know, but we all have extremists in all of our camps. And we do need to kind of call out the extremists in our camps.
I think there's also
and
sometimes roles for the edges, right? And I think that's part of it as well, is the, like, I think there is some good that comes from debates somewhere. But I think that's the tough part, is people use it as a tool for everything. Like, let's decide this with the debate. Sorry to interrupt, but...
No, you're dead on. Does that help, Renee?
I mean, sure. I don't know. I mean, I can't say I'm a fan of Jay Dyer, but I also don't really get the appeal of Gavin Ortland. I don't understand why he's so desperate for Orthodox approval.
I don't think he is.
I mean, just some of the things he says makes it seem like, and what he's doing makes it seem like he's trying to get some ecumenical stamp of approval.
Well, I do agree with that. I think he does want to, as a Protestant, okay, and he's a Protestant, his vision is that we have the invisible church. I know this is not orthodoxy, but there's the invisible church, and that there's Christians in all of these silos, all these traditions, all these camps. And so he's very charitable, and he wants to understand and wants to discuss how someone arrived at the conclusion they did, in light of, you know, because he's Reformed, he does try to go into the historical, hey, you know, what do you make of this church father talking like this about this? And what do you make of this church father talking about this, to hear what the response is? I think that, and this didn't take, I don't know where he's at mentally when it comes to the disagreements from an Orthodox Protestant standpoint. But for me, I realized that I really don't, it's not that I don't care, I just don't understand the mystical elements that have to be brought in from an Orthodoxy standpoint, but I'm okay with it, because to me, most of it, I'd say 90% of it, is secondary primarily. Now, they may not see it that way, but that's how I see it. The primary.
I don't even understand what you're saying.
Well, I think this is part of it. So there's a sense in which the Protestant perspective tends to lean towards, like, salvation being the major issue. And how do you relate to salvation being processed and seeing it? And part of the difficulty is, as people are kind of entering into Orthodox spaces or listening to Orthodox perspectives, that's not a priority or a focus. And so that's why the conversation comes up, is because there's a big difficulty when there's a request like, hey, come over here, check out what we got, how important it is. But when I have the thing that's important to me, it's a difficult conversation, right? So like the salvation thing, how is a convert going to deal with the fact that their believing grandmother of her entire life, who was part of a Pentecostal denomination, maybe she's in hell, right? Like that is a real question that has to be processed. And
yeah, but I just don't. I mean, just me personally, and at least I think a lot of people know I'm Orthodox.
Mm-hmm.
My position personally is, it's like, like I can't control everything, and I might end up in hell. So it's like that's not something I obsess with, and I just don't. I mean, maybe I can have a modicum of sympathy, but I personally don't get the obsession.
Well, and I think it goes the other way too, right? Where there are things that the Orthodox care a lot about that most Protestants do not care at all about. And communicating what you care about is half of communication in general. It's like your priorities become part of the way that you.
Like to Orthodox people, like ecumenism isn't a thing. So Gavin Ortland to me comes across as begging for some ecumenical olive branch, and it just feels weird. Like why do you need the approval? And but we have no interest in ecumenism, and I think like in the Peugeot video and in the Stephen DeYoung one, that comes across pretty clear.
Can I put another kind of spin on it, which I think might be interesting? There's a sense too
Sure.
in which, like, think about it like the internet stuff, right? Where it's like the internet's this like vast communication, and we're all benefiting from all the work done by everyone before us on the internet. It's weird to be like, I don't really care about the work that was done before, and that was part of the stuff about like evangelism by like Protestant denominations. Like, don't you see that all this is like God's working in the world, and it seems to be completely like separated, kind of like the way that you're.
I mean, I've said before. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of evangelism in general, for a number of reasons.
Mhm.
So like I mean, I said this to PVK recently when he was in Austin. Well, I mean, I didn't say this directly to him, but I said something to this effect that thoughtless evangelism, in a sense, is what has led to the dilution and decomposition of a lot of the mainline Protestant churches, because the goal was numbers, not we're a community that has a church and we live in this place and we're this people, and it became just like whoever happens to move to the area and wants to subscribe. And that's the same thing driving the mega churches. So we think of evangelism as just kind of handing somebody this generic gospel and getting them to come to your church long enough so that they start tithing, when like evangelism should have been something more like when some foreign people or person was stitched into Abraham's bosom. There was this, you have to conform to the tribe, and how we deal with God is part of that. And so that's like a deeper thing than the way Protestants have treated evangelism recently.
Well, I don't even think it's recently. I think that's like it's a foreign concept to a lot of like Western Christianity. Like the idea of Christianity as a ruling.
That's why
kind
we
of thing.
become so atomized, is because we're not building communities. We're just subscribing to services.
So my church, I can speak because I'm really involved with it, and it isn't that for us. Now, are there individuals that are out to quote unquote evangelize in a disconnected way where it is about what you're talking about, or maybe it's about credibility, that look at all these people I brought to the church, and recognition for that. There's, wherever people are, it's messy, and every tradition has their people that aren't there for the right reason. And I think Stephen DeYoung talked about that. It's like it's not my place to judge whether somebody is in orthodoxy for the right reason or the wrong reasons. God's judgment call. But
No, what I'm getting at, I think, is something deeper.
Well, let me finish
And
about the evangelism part. For me, when I evangelize, I'm evangelizing to build a relationship with someone. It isn't about you coming to my church. It isn't even about me necessarily telling you the gospel in that first interaction. It's about knowing who you are, getting to know you, your needs, your concerns, the things that are going on with you, your struggles, and I want to know who you are. And if the gospel comes out, it's all Holy Spirit. It has nothing else to do with that. It isn't me. I'm not bringing them to church. I'm not bringing them through. But the gospel does somehow, and it ain't me, come up. It's like organic, as opposed to somebody who's out there just saying, hey, do you know about Jesus Christ? Let me tell you about him. Our church is great, and they're selling something. So I do agree with you. Protestants have gone down a wrong road. But what did Jesus say before he left this planet? To make disciples. So I don't know. He's calling us to go out there in the world and spread this news that is phenomenal. And I feel like that I just don't to me that is one of the most important things outside of the gospel itself. Okay, I'm sorry, Renee.
yeah, but I mean, I think that there's an issue with Western people where they want to spread ideas, but they're not really that interested in growing the body. And I think, to me, the CRC is case in point of what I'm talking about, because what it was a very specific church to a very specific group of people with a very specific culture. And then after World War II, they, because of internal pressure, because they felt like they were like outsiders in America, and because of external pressure, because of the social revolutions that were happening in the 60s, they opened themselves up and they reduced the social restrictions they placed on people internally, and they basically became intentionally became less of a community and started missioning to basically became random people. And then what was once a Dutch immigrant dairy farmer community that had found home in various places in the United States became like a church without an identity that was fighting over, social issues. And so, it would have been one thing if they'd kept their culture, and to be Christian Reformed, you had to learn to milk cows. But what they did is they lost the very the ground of being, which made the church what it was. And so a church, to me, needs to be an epiphenomenon of a people, of an ethnos. And because there's no ethnos behind any of the Protestant churches, really, it's just kind of like a ephemeral body. And churches die all the time because the the natural thing that would keep a community together, which is we've got things to do on this land and we raise generations to replace us so that things continue to get done in this land. Everything is just negotiable and temporary.
Good evening. I say that you're still out working.
Welcome, Jacob. How's it going?
Bringing up the order info now.
Yo. So I tried catching up, but I was like 2 hours behind, and I was never
There's
going
too
to catch
much.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really interested in actually talking about what happened because I don't feel like I've had a chance to process. I keep on hearing people saying I fangirled over him. And for me, I was like, am I gonna be as rude to him as I generally am to most people? Like, I have a parasocial relationship with him. I've watched tens, if not hundreds, of hours of his videos. So I feel like I know a lot more about Gavin Ortland than Gavin Ortland knows about me.
Yeah.
And I've discussed him and stuff like that. So like when he jumped down, even when Chezi was calling him Gavin, I almost interrupted and I said, hold on, let's give Dr. Ortland his proper respect, especially because like, yeah, when I made that thumbnail, like I was and the name, I knew it's a joke, destroyed with facts and logic, but like I'm thinking, what's he thinking?
Yeah.
Before I had enough time to even listen to the entire video, I have this thumbnail of Father Stephen body slamming him and he's destroyed with facts and logic, and I'm like, okay, he, being hospitable, etc. And then people are telling me I'm fangirling, even though, like, I told him I think he's going to hell. Like, I don't know. So yeah.
Well, and that's why I made the comparison where it's like I don't know your relationship to Gavin, but I know my relationship to like Hideo Kojima. I would freak out. But like, there's a certain level of like, what's the best way to induct somebody in? And I don't know. I had a personal experience, and I've tried to not talk about this because that person could be watching. I don't want them to feel bad. But at Northwestuary, somebody came to me and had seen some of my videos, and they just kind of were doing the fangirl thing a little bit. They were like, I'm crazy about your videos. Yeah, like, great job, man. And then it felt a little too much. And it definitely put me off for making videos for a little bit there of like, is this the attention I want to have? So part of it is me reading my own strange experience into that situation as well.
So how's the fame treating you, Foxman?
Hopefully it's not too much. If it's too much, I will shut everything down, and you will never hear from me again under this name.
Are you one of those easily excitable cats?
I want to be known for something at least I want to be known for, we'll say. That's half of it.
Okay.
But is that a fair take, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I mean, the first few times I showed up to events and stuff, and people were like, the weirdest experience was I talked to somebody and they were like, oh yeah, I was at Chino, I saw you, but I didn't go up to you. And I was like, you didn't come up to me? Like, what does that even mean? Like, you saw me and you were like,
you saw me on the mountaintops. I won't approach it.
Yeah. It's like, what? Like, come up, say hi. And I mean, I hope I am very similar in real life to how I am online, even though oftentimes, I mean, some people tell me I'm a lot nicer online than I am offline than I am online. I've gotten a little bit of the opposite, where people are like, you're nicer online than you are offline. It's like, yeah, I mean, I forget. Was it McMo who said that I didn't moderate the conversation enough? I actually asked a few people to leave the stream, and like, I took them off, which I felt bad about. But there were so many people trying to get into the studio that it was full.
I
And
don't know.
so the
Andrew
people-
deserved to be taken off. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm just messing. Anyway, sorry.
No, I'll own this, Jacob, because I had said I thought that once he came in and we proved it. This is him, man. Legit. And we had Paul in there, and there could have been a lot more of a calmer conversation. And I'm not as critical as Mark Parker was about it, but I think, what I think was the success is him being able to get out what is the TLC. You silenced everybody and got Paul's center stage to be able to kind of express this effectively. And then also the other coolest thing was him saying, I'm so amazed that so many of you guys come from all these different traditions and are able to have these tough conversations of really hard things and are still friends, and are able to do this. And that was amazing to him. He was just like, he loved the idea of that, you could tell. And so, but, everybody wanted their chance, and it was really hard because you already had a huge panel. So it was like, what were you going to do? Be a jerk and start kicking people off, or I recommended maybe muting some people just temporarily, just so that you could control the people. So that was my comment. But I think you were real. You were Jacob, bro.
Oh, I'm gonna interrupt 1 second. Nathaniel's in the chat saying I was with the stream until the Andrew hate. I'm joking. I'm joking. You do not know a bigger Andrew fan than me. Okay, he is he's the looks maxing secretary of my cabinet. Okay, so if you're gonna get to Andrew, you're gonna have to go through me. Okay.
The comments on Andrew did more damage. It was like Andrew's trying to get kicked off. Like,
Yeah, I expected to get a lot more criticism that, like, dude, the man just jumped on your stream. Your stream is already ridiculously, like, the thumbnail and the title, and then you're telling him you think he's going to hell. Like, chill, dude. But then the most common thing I heard was that I was fangirling.
Order accepted. Thank you.
So
Well,
I don't even know what to say about that.
It just shows that your correction worked. Like that was the part of what you were trying to express was a more welcoming, friendly space, and yeah.
yeah, wouldn't you think it's a compliment to get criticism from both sides of it equally? I think that's the true, the true sign that you were as balanced as you could be.
I'm a little skeptical of that because sometimes you get everyone hating you because you're just a jerk. So, like, that
True.
could be a possibility, but also it might just be everybody hates you because you're the jerk.
Also fair. I don't think that's what this was, but
Well,
yeah.
Luke certainly didn't like how I dealt with it at all, but that's me and Luke. We love
Wait,
each other very, very much.
what was Luke saying?
Oh, I'm hoping. I mean, so what happened was I jumped on to Luke's stream. and
Wait, this
within
stream that we're watching right
minutes-
now?
Yeah, within 2 minutes he kicked me off, and I went and started my own stream, and then Luke was very, very angry, and I was not in a good emotional place. I'm still not in the greatest emotional place. My dog Now he's doing okay, although we were in the emergency room yesterday.
Oh, there.
And yeah, I'm wondering if I was a little too mean to Luke, although I'm not sure it's possible to be too mean to Luke. So yeah, there was a whole 3-hour stream on my channel that I might just end up taking down from my channel. Maybe I should. But yeah, Luke and I have had it out over the years a few.
I mean, yeah, as with any community or people you've been with a long enough time.
Yeah, but I tend to get into fights more than most people. I think. I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
I try to be that person.
You know what the thing about Luke though is that he's very playful, you know, and the problem I think too sometimes is that, you know, I want to be taken seriously at times, right? And so like if somebody's being playful, I could see how I might misinterpret him being playful, you know, as like, you know, just, you know, disrespectful. And I don't know. I just don't like. One of the things I noticed that when people bust on Luke, usually it's them because they already know that he kids about himself a lot, you know, and he calls out his stuff, you know, and he's genuinely, you know, like he knows that, you know, like he jokes around, it's all about me, you know, like he knows these, you know, and so everybody, because I feel like everybody kind of has this relationship with him, they break his balls just to keep him humble, right? Like just to, yeah, just keeping you humble, buddy, you know, but they do it out of a generosity, you know, of love for him. And so I think just what had happened there is I think there was just some understanding. Okay. I don't know your entire history, so I'm not claiming to know it. So I'll be honest.
Maybe I should not have this out while he's not here. I will say
very good idea.
My criticisms of Luke don't center around like joking around and stuff like that. I mean, I think I troll and joke around as much as anyone, but I very seriously believe that he is trying to advance many ideas that I find genuinely morally reprehensible, and he just finds that completely incomprehensible that I would, you know, like, I think universalism is poison. I think a lot of things are poison, and like I say that, and I'm pretty clear about it. Like anarchism, pacifism, like I believe these are morally reprehensible positions, and I say so. And that plenty of people in TLC, I mean, this is part of the reason I kind of exiled myself from TLC. I'm like, you know, I came here because I really liked the parts of Jordan Peterson that a lot of people in TLC absolutely hate, which is like him going not beautiful, and him saying you have to be willing to offend, and him telling those trans students, you know, yeah, I realize you think this is harmful to you, but I'm doing it for your own good. And those are the types of things about Jordan Peterson that I kind of assume that everyone around me should either like, or if you don't like it, I don't, okay, you're not gonna like me, because I very much like Jordan Peterson for those aspects. And I think there's plenty of people in TLC who just, you know, those parts of Jordan Peterson they're completely opposed to.
So make fat shaming Jordan Peterson great again.
Yes. And like I disagree with all kinds of people. I'm just responding to Roger Dodger Esquire. I'm wondering if you're actually a lawyer. But like, um, I have people who disagree with me. Like, I've had actual white nationalists on my channel. I actually like it when people disagree with me, but that's different from like when I view what you're doing to be morally reprehensible. Like, I'm gonna say that, and yeah, fat shaming Jordan Peterson's my hero. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people do struggle with knowing how to deal with people that have strong opinions, even if you disagree. So like they're uncomfortable with how to navigate that. And so I think sometimes there's defense mechanisms at play there, you know what I mean? And you're very opinionated, Jacob. I don't agree with everything, but a lot of the stuff you said that you found morally reprehensible, I agree with it in your stance. I might not frame it as morally reprehensible, but either way, you have a stance, and I respect your stance. So yeah, it's how you deal with opinionated people, because you're going to encounter them all through life. So the idea that you have to colonize me with the idea that I can't have a strong opinion about something I don't agree with either, right? And I think
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to respond again to Roger Dodger, Esquire, he says, you block people just like Luke does. Yeah, I'm the one who kept on telling Luke, no, Luke, you actually do have to block people. This personalist thing is kind of silly. And yeah, I do block people. I do, but like, that's partially because I'm not a universalist. I do believe there are people who are going to hell. And like the universalists who are, everyone, the only people going to hell are the people who aren't universalists. They drive me up a wall.
And Stephen DeYoung is a universalist, isn't he?
No, he will say that he is he believes, and Bishop Barron has said the same thing, and frankly I say the same thing. I think it's very nice and cute to be hopeful that maybe universalism, that God in his infinite capacity to go beyond everything we understand, will find a way. And frankly, for me, like, I do believe in transmigration of souls, which is kind of sort of like reincarnation, but slightly different. In that, I am somewhat a universalist. I hope that all will be redeemed in some way, but like at the same time, like, there are people who are really, really bad people, and if you don't believe that, like, try being a social worker for all of 5 hours, and then you will see. Like, there are stories I don't tell people so that I don't traumatize them. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I want to just make sure I publicly tell Rob, that's Roger Dodger, that when I block you, it's primarily because you're saying the things that are, it's not about disagreeing. You'll bring the topics up that you always bring up over and over again. And the space that I'm trying to create is normal conversation and dialogue. The things you always want to bring up into every subject, I don't think is helpful, nor do I think it's accurate in your interpretation of how you're threading them together. So when I block you, it's because you have a ton of screen names. Every time I give you a chance, I let you stay on my channel and I let you do your thing. But as soon as you start going into the same stuff you always do, don't be upset, because I'm going to block you. So I just want my morning show to be a place where people have an enjoyable conversation with each other. And I also don't like to not be able to respond to some of the chats because there's these huge paragraphs of Afro-centric, comparisons, and it's just like Claire. Same with Claire. So, anyway, I had to get that out because I do care about Rob. I don't, I like him and I really want him to enter the TLC on screen. I want to see that at some point, even if it's a rando and he does the no show face thing, just to have a conversation with Olsen or whoever you choose. It would be really, really great to hear you completely speak your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't block people for disagreeing. I don't believe I've ever blocked someone because they disagree. If I was going to do that, Hezi would be #1 on my list. And he definitely doesn't get blocked but I very much disagree with him on things that are like really important. I was not joking when I said Hezi and I have gotten into fights that we haven't spoken to each other for weeks. And considering like he's one of the important people on my channel, one of the important people in my life, like it is like to get into a fight with someone you very much consider a good friend, despite the fact, weirdly, I've never actually met him in real life. Like, Hezi is one of my best friends in the world. And to get to a point where you're, like, not talking to each other for weeks at a time, like, we just could not talk to each other. It's, like, that's disagreement. But, like, some people I'll block just, if you're gonna walk into my channel and spout stupidity and like insult people and stuff, it's not about disagreement. It's like, can you behave and can you participate in our community? And that's a very different thing about whether or not you agree with me.
Well, and this is what the whole kind of conversation has been this entire time, has been what are our standards? Both like as a general community and, as individuals, I guess, and how we engage with other people. I mean, that's the whole reason I made my Olives paper and my Olives argument, which was like, there are a lot of people who are hanging around on the internet, and you don't have to engage with all of them. And sometimes it's best to ignore them because that's actually the most loving thing you can do for them.
Yeah, well, my show's small enough to where I really want the chat. You do a good job at it here, but I want the chat to be part of the conversation. And it's really hard to, bring the chat in and see their comments when there's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of things that, aren't relative to what we're talking about. And to be fair, Rob, you've come on multiple streams and nobody has even brought PVK up and you're insulting him. So it's like a grudge you have and something that a resentment you have that you hold, and you're entitled to that.
Well, it's like learning how to play, right? Like the thing is that there are yard rules, and like and I think one of the main tools that we have in our hand is to like you don't sometimes the answer is to ban somebody, and sometimes the answer is just to like don't give them attention, because if you give them attention, that's going to reinforce the the thing that they're already doing. And so if you just kind of like, a lot of people are looking for attention, and it's learning how to deal with that.
And Luke is here, so now we can talk all the shit about him we want.
Yeah, and Luke, you're free to hop on. I don't know if you have the Discord, but let me know if you need the link, and we can do that if that's something that you are interested in.
Yeah, Luke. Yeah.
So much drama. So like, why are you driving a vehicle without a cabin to visit shipping containers?
Because I'm delivering cargo to the post-apocalyptic Australia.
Okay, so this is DoorDash 2077.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
What game is this?
This is Death
DoorDash
Stranding 2.
2077.
Hold on, no. Are you serious? I thought you were jokingly naming the game.
Death Stranding 2? Or Paul Renee Nichols one?
I'm confused. You have to remember, I'm much older than you guys. You're confusing the boomer here.
No. The name of the video game
Jacob?
is Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2. Okay.
Yeah. Are you seeing the game, Jacob?
Well, no, because he's got a screen. Well,
Yeah, well, I was sharing the video, and we kind of lost the thread on the video.
Yeah.
Because we got a first-hand primary sources coming in left and right. But
that's right.
I'm usually the one who's like, we should have our pictures on because then you can see people's faces.
I'm doing the React content stuff, and now I didn't realize, but I stumbled into the drama YouTuber format, and I'm gonna have to repent of that tonight in my prayers.
I didn't even know there was drama. Yeah. Like I'm not paying that much attention, man.
There are people who say that I cause drama. I'm like, am I a drama queen? Am I really?
Okay, so next topic. Did we want to continue the video?
Sure.
Okay, we'll keep going.
Fighting the algorithm with the algorithm and whatever TLC means, like, isn't that like a win, so to speak?
Yeah, I thought
It can't. Interesting to me that you saw it as a fiasco.
Yeah, I did. Well, I've not completed it, so maybe there is a peak moment that I missed. But his entry, I mean, Kenzie, you managed to keep your composure, but I mean, frankly, the panel that was on stage giggled. It was embarrassing.
TLC giggled.
I think there is a sense in which, like, and to a bad degree, somewhat, a sense in which TLC loves the obscurity of not being known, being like the hipster type. Like, I was here before it was cool. And so it's always a balance of trying to figure out what that, like, how to rightfully interact with that and engage with that. How much do you invite the executive versus the other tastemakers into your space, and respond to it?
So this is one of the things I get into fights with people about. Is I think we need to have as much space for as many people who want to come in. Like, obviously, if somebody doesn't want to, yeah, that's certainly up to them. I understand that. But I have always been opposed, especially at the conferences. They put limits on the number of tickets and stuff, and I'm like, no, don't do that.
I will say that was something that was hard about Midwestuary, though, was that there was so much. It was trying to find that balance again of, like, how much of this is on the side of like, these are just random fans of Peugeot, and then they're running into this weird internet community, and they don't really care about it, and it wasn't really on-ramping. It was just kind of like dog food kind of stuff going back and forth. Versus, like, Northwestuary, I think we had a good mix of people who kind of knew what was going on, and people who were just, like, complete strangers who knew one of the poets who was tangentially related to our corner, and she had, like, a crazy time of experiencing, like, oh, there's this, like, internet connected community. Of course, she didn't follow through. Like, she's not around, I don't think, anymore, but her impact is pretty lasting. I think Karen Wong still uses analogies that woman brought into the conference.
So when they promoted the conference, how did it get out to the general public in writ large, which is just a Twitter and a bunch of people that happen to be following certain people on Twitter, and that's how these, people that were only fans of, Jonathan Peugeot would show up? Or, I mean, because, like, I feel like
Well, Pajot and
If, let's
Verbaki
say-
both mentioned it to their followers in one way or another, like X and whatever.
Okay.
I
And
think
they were already outside technically of the sphere and doing their own thing at this point.
yeah, this was like last year.
Yeah, it was already they were already bigger than they were
Oh,
already
yeah.
building their thing larger outside of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Jacob. I think as many people that can come in this space as possible. We have groups of flotilla ships, is what I was saying earlier, and you're going to find your group of ships that you can absorb their content, because you could never absorb the entire TLC content, even if you use the TLC.net website. It's just impossible to see it all, and so you have to pick and choose what content you want to consume and who you want to engage with and who you line up better with as far as personalities, not even necessarily traditionally, right? So I agree with Jacob, though. It would be nice to see this get larger. It doesn't mean we have to lose the secret sauce or the salt,
Well, it's the sustainable growth problem. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah.
I think you can plan for it, and you can mitigate the problems of it, and you can try to, figure things out. And some people, again, we've gotten into this in ancient history of TLC, but some people were like, nope, let's just close the door. And
Yeah.
that really bothered me.
Is Luke coming on or what?
I don't think Luke's coming on. I think he was just commenting. I might be wrong, but
I do like Skank's thing. You can just block people for aesthetic reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an excuse why I'm here on Father's Day. Like, Luke has 3 kids. There's
That's
no excuse to
very
be on
true.
here on Father's Day.
Now he's going to come on for sure. Don't tell me what to do.
So anyone comes out of the lab.
It was. Doctor. It's Gavin. Until he's on stage, and then it's Dr. Ortlund. I mean, that's what I mean by the lifting of the skirt. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's like watching a tribe of bonobos. I mean, come on.
I'm not gonna.
It's like don't fawn. You're an equal. You come in, talk. Are you curious about us? Ask your questions. Answer the damn question.
Okay, I think we got the main thing. It's gonna go like that for a second here, so let's just.
But whoever it was who said that, was it Alan or Adam? Like, they obviously don't know my channel very well.
Oh no,
Like,
that was Mark.
Oh, even worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we got an idea of how Mark feels about all this. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, I don't like. I am really big on titles. Like, I put people's titles into their thing even when they themselves don't do it. So
Pop out player.
You know what was interesting, Jacob, is I did a real professional thumbnail that night after that conversation, after this conversation. And it was ridiculous because I had the description, obviously, Gavin Ortland, and and I got like 600 views, and I get max 100 maybe views on a episode, or show or whatever, a live stream. So it is ridiculous because I mean YouTube clearly pumped it. People clicked it because they saw the thumbnail and maybe thought I was somebody serious that they can be taken seriously, and then they saw 5 seconds of it and realized, oh, this is just a chump. But I do think it's weird how thumbnails and titles, and that was the whole point of what Foxman was bringing up, is like trolling the algorithm. And it's funny, so crazy.
And if you're making YouTube videos, I mean, I understand if you don't want, you don't want views, but like, if I'm making YouTube videos, I'm making them for people to watch them, you know? So like, when people have complained about my thumbnails and my titles before, but it's like, come on, it's YouTube. If you see X destroys Y with facts and logic and you don't understand that's a joke, like, that's on you.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
and
not TLC people.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to there's a big gap in understanding what the medium of the internet is. And so I think a lot of people confuse the you know, crazy thumbnails. Me even saying obliterates Gavin Ortland in the title of this, I think is gonna bother some people. Just because, again, like they don't understand like what even the internet is exactly. And this is one of those things that I've been trying to find a way to communicate well, and some of that comes up with my conversation with Paul about like this idea of lolcows is a thing, and like you just need to be aware that, you know, there are people who are going to be trying to get your attention, and it's going to be bad for them to give your attention and bad for you, and just be aware of that. You can play with them all you want, but you know, there are things that exist that are dangerous in this this realm that, you know, you should at least be wary of.
Do you know who the Thorpes are?
I do.
I didn't, and they suddenly showed up on my channel.
Yes, they did.
They're bizarre.
You know, I think when you're from Los Angeles, I've seen families like that so many times. Like, there's people who don't understand. Okay, when you have a family that two of the kids, both of them over 18, are sitting on a computer while mom and dad are fighting on the computer for the entire world to see, and they have 5 other kids, but nobody ever sees the kids under 18, that might not be the most authentic display of family interactions in the world. You know?
It's like the Osbournes type thing.
Yeah. And in Los Angeles, I mean, I grew up with this. And when I was in elementary school and junior high school, and even to some extent in high school, like, it was normal for, like, you come to school, you go home from school, you're watching like Growing Pains or any of the other shows everybody else watched, you know, and one of your classmates is one of the kids in the show, and then next day you come and everybody's joking about that kid, you know, being on TV, and like, this is Los Angeles. This is what living in Los Angeles is like. And back, I mean, this is before probably all of you, the rest of you were born, except maybe Renee. I mean, Paul. Like, it's like, things were different back then, especially when you were from Los Angeles.
Yeah, but that's why Beverly Hills 90210 was so successful.
Yep.
It was like, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, Jacob, how old do you think I am?
Who said that?
That's Brett.
Brett, when I saw your picture, I was very surprised to see a gray beard. I was.
I must come off very immature.
No, I just assume everyone online in these spaces is younger than me, because generally it's true, and every once in a while I meet people who aren't younger than me. Also, you can never go wrong with assuming people are younger. People get really mad when you assume they're older, unless they're very young, in which case they're like, oh, you thought I was an adult.
Take care of yourself.
You never want to be yourself. You always want to be someone else.
Order completed.
This is the number one thing I say in therapy to people is be comfortable in your skin. Don't be older, don't be younger. Be comfortable in your skin, because anything else is going to become a problem eventually. But our culture doesn't say that.
No, we've got 50, 60-year-olds still wearing Eddie Bauer shirts and hats and trying to be 20 years old. I
Oh,
always,
and the facelifts. Oh my god, the plastic surgery becomes so hideous. I don't know if it's the same way in other places as it is in Los Angeles, but there's a category of plastic surgery that, like, you can't in real life is absolutely frightening, but looks pretty good in pictures. And you get people who like get this horrific
Ooh.
plastic surgery, and then their pictures online, they look absolutely beautiful, but in real life you're like, oh my god, what did you do to yourself?
yeah, that's the, it's really kind of seemed to have started when the Michael Jackson thing, I think, you know, like there were people out there just trying to get that nose. It was just like, what?
Yeah, and you look at their Instagram pictures or whatever, and they look really good, and then you see them in real life and you're like, that is horrific.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Yeah, it is the way it goes. Like I wouldn't put it all under social contagion, but there is a bit of that going on. Of we have these societal standards and fears that are popping up, and people are doing whatever they can to not fall into them. I know a 20-ish-year-old girl whose worst fear in life above everything else is growing old. And what she wants most above all is to be famous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so would you, instead of social contagion, you know, wouldn't you consider it a mental contagion?
The thing is, it's so tied to the experience of their connection to other people.
Yeah.
I would say it's toxic culture. That's what I would call it.
Yeah.
It's our society having as a value something that is destructive to people around us, and that happens all the time in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, I just saw, I came across my algorithm, Denzel busting on Michael Strahan on an interview or something, but they were referencing back to all the stuff Michael Strahan has done, and they were showing a clip of him. The corporation clearly put this child on his show, and they were platforming a trans 10-year-old or something, and he's the next RuPaul, and you know, Strahan had a job to do, and he was to take it seriously, and so he was doing that, and it just looked really bad, you know, and so, you know, it's like parents are sitting in the front row, and the disjointedness of them and what they're doing as parents just struck me, you know?
One example I like to give is society has decided that it's really, really good to tell young women that patriarchy is out to get them, and same thing with like young black kids, like, oh, the racism out there is so bad, you can never make it, right? And you end up with like learned helplessness in a large percentage of the people who are told this, by all means not a majority, and like the people who are doing this don't recognize the learned helplessness they're giving people by telling them, oh yeah, like white people hate you.
Yeah. Like often the warning is more of a curse than the actual thing can be sometimes.
Definitely. I see it so much where, you know, when you ask most black people, they say they haven't experienced it in their lives. But, you know, then you meet some black people and it's like, oh, you think your life is completely controlled by racists and you have no capacity to get ahead in life, and somebody taught you that, and it's absolutely destructive.
Well, and I think it's hard too because there's the sense in which everybody is most of this is happening online, and online there's the normalization ray that, you know, everybody must be experiencing the same thing everywhere. There's no sense in which there's like a regionalism or a localized phenomenon that is happening. It kind of, everything has to be everywhere all at once. So when somebody shares their experience about, you know, even their interaction with like a local government agency or something, it's under the lens of this thing is bad system-wide, when really all you can say is my experience in my local community has been bad. But we always want to kind of come at it from the angle of the federal or the largest kind of governing body.
Yeah, a good example of that is like the stabbing on the subways. Like, okay, what, you don't think that that has happened many times in the past? But no, there's people that are highlighting this, and they're literally doing it for a specific point. And it's like, that's what the thing about the media is, it literally is what YouTube, like it was YouTube before YouTube, you know? It was doing it for viewership because they knew people would either respond to it, react to it, good or bad, but all publicity is good.
You never give it less than your all, and we're forever in your debt. Please accept this data as an expression of our gratitude. We've upped the quantity.
Okay, you guys are depressing me. Stop that.
Okay, but I guess this is the other frame, right? It's like this all should be dealt with on the local level. Like there's only so much you can communicate on the mass scale. There is plenty of good stuff, but the best quality stuff has to be on the local. Like the way that you're going to make a real difference in the world is not by voting. It's going to be by, you know, actually caring for the people in your community and doing something. And oftentimes the reality is like we want to use the biggest thing to be able to make the biggest change all at once, when really the small things are what makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Subsidiarity, baby, subsidiarity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why the Christian nationalism thing, you know, or the, you know, like the things that Doug Wilson does is not as helpful, because most Christians aren't like that. And most Christians are doing what you're talking about, Foxman. You know, they're trying to affect it locally. They're trying, you know, they genuinely are trying to do this. Most people are trying to do this. They're not doing it great, you know, but then Christians will get accused of, you know, not taking a hard enough stand, not, this is the reason why the nation's going to hell, is because Christians just sat back and said, well, God's got this, so I don't need to do anything. You know, like that's the criticism that typically gets lobbed in the direction. And so you end up with people like Doug Wilson, you know, who believes that we need to do it like you were just saying, you know, we need to have this massive thing that needs to be happening.
Well, let's be fair to him. He actually does mostly operate locally in small stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I hear you. I think we have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, and be like, yeah, subsidiarity, local, yes, all of that is good. At the same time, like, it's hard, and balance is hard, and exact balance is hard, and hard things are hard.
Hard things are hard.
Well, the good part is I still believe in the sovereignty of God too, though. So that's the other thing. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry, not sorry.
I think
God, what's this God thing? I never talk about God.
I can't talk about God on this channel. Okay, it would be a defilement to his name. Just kidding. But I am gonna have to end stream pretty soon here. It is getting hot in this room, and I have a wife to be a good husband to. So, do we have any final words as we're gonna close things up here?
I don't. Thanks for coming on, Jacob. It was nice talking with you.
Thanks for having me. It was nice talking with all of ya, all y'all.
Yeah. Thank you again, all three of you, Jacob, Paul, and Brett. I'm sad we didn't get Chris Howard on. We'll have to figure out whatever technical difficulties were going on, but it was a fun stream.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
You too. Yeah. Let me find a good way to hop this off, but I'll stop the recording here, or streaming, I guess.